This video exists because Tekken has a lot to learn. I don't think it's as hard as everyone claims it is, and that its difficulty has more to do with visibility, and how all these moving parts distract you from learning the core game. You can become a tournament level player in just a couple months, no bullshit. You get out what you put in. The first thing we're gonna do is learn our moves. Since this is a no BS guide, I'm gonna learn alongside you to help you. I've never ever played Azucena even once, so you newer players who might get lost will watch me learn while I'm teaching you. One means left hand, 2 means right hand, 3 means left leg, 4 means right leg. Forward, forward results in a dash. Forward, forward, forward results in a run. Back, back results in a back dash. In the same way, double tapping up or down results in a sidewalk. Tapping up or down once results in a side step. Down back is much better to block with because it does not interfere with any sideways movement. In the same way, down and forward makes you go forward. So, when players talk about things like down forward 1, what they mean is down and forward and the left punch button at the same time. Down forward 1, down forward 2 from Kazuya. And when people say down back 4, what they really mean is down and back and the right leg button at the exact same time. Kazuya's down back 4, otherwise known as stature kick. If you see a star in the move list, that means wait or empty. It is a single frame, the same way forward, back, or down would be a frame. The same way the left kick or 3 would be a frame. So, to execute this move correctly, it is forward, wait a frame, down, and down forward. And then 2, or right punch button. And it would look like this. There we go. And those are the very basic controls. Okay, this video is going to be broken up into a bunch of chunks. And each individual chunk, I'm going to focus on that like part and then move on so that it's easier to digest. Okay, so the first thing we're going to focus on is our heat engagers. Mid-high. Interesting. Also natural on hit. You can cancel this one by holding back. Oh, but even on hit, you're punishable even on hit though. Interesting. Yeah, this is good. Okay, yeah, heat grab like king. Okay, then she has heat moves. Interesting. Okay, so you use up heat doing that. It's a high. I'm learning things, cool. Okay, so she's got a lot of highs. I know about this one. Yep. +6. Okay, +6 into the Libertador. Okay, so I have to transition. I can't really do anything about that. Can't really cancel it. I can cancel it, but I have to go into it still. Okay. It's not going to be very glamorous, but you have to do this. Like, you're not going to actually learn the game if you don't do these things step by step and with purpose. So now that I know all the like heat moves, I can effectively play the character. She looks like she's based in a lot of highs, so You don't really want to do this one. This one's not worth very much because 3 highs in a row is just not good, especially if it's telegraphed because like it's a heat situation. So that's what you want to do, is that you want to look at what you want to look at the moves and then see like what parts of the system are worthwhile and which ones aren't. It looks like her heat moves are pretty good, but you have to place them. You can't just do them because they all have like high landers. So it's part 1 of the learning process, like simple system stuff. Alright, now that we finished system stuff, which would be heat in this instance for Tekken 8, more important stuff like poking. Regular jab. +8. That's good. That's good. -14. Okay. -10. 2, 1, 2. This is not bad. This is not bad. You could harass and then finish. Yeah, it's not true on hit. Okay. Can't do anything else with this. This is still a good mid check. Ooh, guaranteed on hit. That's a solid 14 frame. That's a solid 14 frame. Okay. Looks like I have to transition here. Interesting. Ooh, this one's good. This one seems like it would be good. So I define a poke as anything that is single hit, so not a string, and that's like not like a value move. You're not doing it for value. This is a value move because it's a launcher. So this would be an example, like simple poke, simple poke, simple poke, simple poke. You could, this would be an example of like a poke that transitions into a value move naturally. So let's see if that's actually true or if I'm just talking out my ass. Player counter. Oh yeah. Your throws are also pokes because they're 12 frames and single hit. You don't want to rely on them to do damage, but that is something that you should be implementing in your poke game. Something like this, like that. That would be like a simple poking sequence with a throw. Real quick. Yes. That's good. That's a good poke. This is exactly what you want from a poke. Poking situations are they're based around fast attacks, and the fastest attack in the game generically is the one jab. So if you can find ways to beat the one jab like without doing too much, this is really good, because the reason the one jab is so powerful is because it's a very minor like advantage situation for you. So if you can get good at stacking minor advantage over and over and over again, you're in good shape. And so you don't want to do like something crazy risky just to beat a single one jab, because depending on how tight they play, they can literally one jab and then block your shit. So you can't even punish the one jab.
Damn it, professional booty tickler. Welcome to the Boom Squad. Thanks, Mogdash. My booms and noise aren't working anymore. Man, stop it, Steve.
So it's much better to like learn how to beat it properly by doing something like this. Don't want to rely on a dig jab because there's like very little value in it, and it's easier to call out when it's something like this, where it's like attack versus attack is much hard. It's much how do I want to say it? How do I want to phrase it? Answering a jab like this is much more inconspicuous than this. This is more like red flags go up when this starts happening as the like person playing the jab in this case. If you see a down jab, that's when you know it's like party time. Like destroy them for trying to do a down jab. But this, it's harder to like predict in the moment because it's like an actual attack. So if you're doing this to beat a jab, it's like, well, oh, I guess he just did that. I don't know if he'll do that next time. Whereas this may or may not be a signal that they are panicking under simple jab pressure like this. So this would be an example of a good poke. Like, look for this kind of attack for whatever character you're playing, because this is not an Azucena guide. This is just like, I'm learning this character alongside you to like actually teach you how to poke. This would be a really good example of a poke for Azucena. -3 is good because that means I can move still. 13 damage, that's solid. 3 of these in a round, that's 36 damage. So, or 39 damage, yeah. That's half a combo. Combo's like just doing this 3 times. Does she have any strings? Ooh, she do. Interesting. Interesting. There we go. Yeah, this is the move that you use to transition from a poking into a value move. These things where it comes built in, that's where you learn how to transition. Because realistically, as you get better at the game, you should be doing things like this instead of relying on this. But if you're really just learning the game, this is like a very, like, it teaches you without having to, like, you having to put the pieces together, so to speak. Like, they already exist naturally, and so you'll be like, oh, okay, I get it. You'll be like this. Yeah. Not the best idea, but you can get good players with this still, because they're like, okay, well, he'll keep taking his frames with like the poking over and over again. So they'll like try to mash on you even after getting hit or something, and so you can rip that like that and get a counter hit launch even on hit, because that will happen, because it's all the timing game anyway. If you don't play string mix-ups and you're just doing poking over and over and over and over and over again, strings are real, because they're the opponent's going to play like a timing mix-up on you, and if you get ahead of them with the timing mix-up by finishing the string, it's all real. It doesn't matter if it's because this is what, mid 2 highs in a row. It doesn't matter that there's 2 highs in a row. You will counter hit someone with the 3rd hit if you actually pay attention to their habits. It's all like a habitual thing, and that's why it's really good to do pokes. Because pokes help you build habits, so you just go like down forward 1-4 over and over and over and over again, over and over and over and over again. On of course, hoping for like a punish. You're not just gonna do this because it's 2 hits. It's a high, but if you punish them enough with this down 4 and then keep going for the lows, or like throw, or like down forward 1-4, jab, 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 down forward 1, down forward 1-4, jab. Eventually they're gonna get frustrated, and then you can on hit 1, 2, 3, yeah, and get a launch. Next part would be tracking moves. You can see based on the icon what's a tracking move and what's not. Oh, shoot. Oh, is it a triangle? Yeah, there we go. You can see based on this green line, these moves are extremely important, and you can tell, like, I'm going about this in a very specific way, so if you think, you know, what I have to say is BS, like, you know, I'm probably just going to beat you in a match. Like, it's just a fact. These things are lined out in the game, like, on purpose, and if you do not train these things, they will not appear when you play. Like, you won't do your tracking move when you know you should have if you didn't actually go and practice doing it against the opponent. Get these into your memory and like have these as a part of your strategy. Oh, okay. You could do like a deep mix. Interesting. Interesting. Wow, she's +1 after that? Well, I guess this is kind of risky if you know the matchup. That's interesting that she can even do a deep mix off her homing move like that. -9. This is good, dude. This is a complete... Most characters don't have something like this, by the way. They do not have, like a mix from a homing. That's not really how that works for most characters. They don't have, like, a mix from homing. This is a very interesting concept. It's not super complete, but that doesn't really matter. Yeah, so look for the circular line on the move list here. Again, like, I don't really intend to play Azucena either. This is just for the video. Because I wouldn't think it's a very good demonstration of my actual like teaching ability if I couldn't do it without like knowing. I don't know anything about this character. Oh, this is good, dude. She's good. She has the Shaheen forward 4, but better because it's +2. Wow, this character's strong, or at least her highs are very powerful. Like, they've been making it to where all the highs in Tekken 8 are like really busted, but like this one, man, this is crazy. Okay, so +2. So basically what's really important is that like you're using poking to open up the opponent, you know, and to kind of like take the match in different directions. What people misunderstand is that like traditionally in a fighting game you do like high or low, like in like Street Fighter it's like you do like a jump in or you do like a low or whatever. In this one you do mid or low for Tekken. Another interesting aspect about like attacking defense is that when the opponent is good, they'll take movement to as like their defense. Like it's 3 guards. It's block mid, block low, step. Those are your 3 like proper defensive options. So you as the attacker, you need to learn your homing moves because this is not a complete mix. Down forward 1, down back 4 with Azucena, that's not a complete mix. This is a complete mix with Azucena. Down forward 1, down back 4, and forward 4. That's the actual complete mix for how Tekken is played. Like, pay attention to this stuff. Like, make sure that you really learn your homing moves and learn your situations because let's say we're right here. Like, I've attained the wall. I have this position now. This is +2. I'm doing a homing move. No, you stay here, bro. Like, we're staying here. Like, I'm not letting you go nowhere. And you can tell people haven't actually practiced their moves. Like, practice your moves. Like, it's not glamorous, but if you're actually trying to, like, learn how to play the game, you need to practice this stuff. During the Libitador. Okay, classic. Homing move and armor move simultaneously. Of course, it's a high. Yep, we learned that. Yep, throws. Okay. These are some good homing moves, bro. This is above average. If you play Azucena and you're watching this video, use these homing moves. These are strong, especially this. And you can do like some deep like match situation. Like especially if you're actually good at poking, you can make this work. You can make this work if you're good at poking. This seems like a very interesting situation to play. As someone who like actually knows how to use homing moves, like this is crazy to me. Actually having like a mix from your homing, that's a really cool concept. All right, next section is counter hits. This move seems like it could be interesting. This isn't the smartest idea to do, but this is like a legitimate strategy that you would use versus good players, where you're transitioning between the first and the second hit of an attack, or like a string or a concept. That the first hit is like a trap. You're enticing them to come into you and try to punish you, and this looks like this could be potentially for that purpose, because the spacing is kind of like that, and like. Yeah, 15-23. Counter hit. And then, of course, as we learn that one. Yeah, even on the second hit there. And that last hit. I wouldn't recommend throwing this out willy-nilly, but this is definitely something that can work for you. Same concept of like throwing it out in range. Like this is a risky concept, but like it does work even versus good players. Okay, that's a good one. It does that regardless. Ooh, yeah, that does not look like a normal hit launcher. Nope. 15, yeah, 15. But it's not the best. Is it beat jab or something? I just like wonder why they would make it that way. It do. This is especially important to learn for your counter hit moves. Like, do they have any property that they beat anything? Can they be used as a counter, actually, for specifically defeating something? We already talked about this, but this would be an example of a counter hit. Even if it didn't give this +12, like on counter hit like this would be an example of something that you'd use as a counter hit because the purpose is to beat it. This would also be an example of a counter hit move. This doesn't change property on counter hit, but it's something that you're using to counter with. Yes. Yeah. And it's also defeating something because you can do this like really late. It's like she's crouched under the whole time. That's what you want from a counter hit move. Yeah. So, wall sending 1, +2. down back 3 works appropriately. So yeah, you can set up a situation like this. It's like, oh yeah, you have to block now, you know. So it's like bop, 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 bop. Yep, that one. That one too. Yeah, so look for any of the counter hit moves in your move list, and make sure that like you're doing so purposefully. Like, what would you actually use as a counter hit move in this situation? So it's like, if you're to set up this move, like it's gonna be the jab. Is it gonna be the down forward one? I want to know. Okay, so it's just a high evasive move that has a counter hit property. I see. You would go in with some down forward ones until the opponents, like, they would have to take their turn back with like a jab. You go in with down forward ones, and then bam. Okay, the last section for this portion will be launchers. Because Tekken is not like a traditional fighting game where like everything has like links. There's like moves are separated into the categories, like pokes, like single hits, value moves, moves that have like a mini combo, and then moves that are like proper combo. So the last part is launchers. It's important that you learn these last. You learn all those other basic moves first, because this is where people get distracted, is that they learn their launchers and they don't learn the other parts of the game. They learn their launchers because it's very visible when a combo happens. I don't have to explain this. It's very easy to see. Okay, so learn your launchers. I'm not going to go over any combos, because that's going to be a later portion of the video. So learn your launchers. I went over counter hits first, because certain moves, they're not launchers on normal hit, like this move and like this move, but they transition into becoming launchers on a counter hit situation. So learn your normal hit launchers. Like for Azucena, it would be this. It would also be this. I think this. Yep. Let me check just to make sure. Yeah, I thought so. So learn your launchers.
Before you can do anything else, you have to be able to do the moves you want exactly when you mean to do them. If you can't even perform the moves consistently, how can you expect to win a match? You have to practice until you have full autonomy over your actions. Frames are what help you enforce gameplay ideas. They are very important. Basically, the core idea is that you want to avoid using attacks that are -10 or more, because that leaves you open for a counterattack. And you want to look for attacks that are not very minus, are 0, or plus on block. This is because mathematically, taking more turns than your opponent is one of the most reliable ways to win, because it now forces each opponent's turn to make more value than yours.
I intend to make it to where every single section of the video I'll play with a different character, because this is not a how to play Yoshimitsu guide, this is not a how to play Azucena guide, this is how to play the core game, and what better demonstration than actually using every single character. You will be able to choose any character that you want and play them very effectively, because you will know the whole game. You will actually have fundamentals by the time this video is over. Okay, so the first part will be slightly minus pokes. That means for highs and mids, like slightly minus on block, and then for lows, slightly minus on hit. So this would be an example of a slightly minus attack for Yoshimitsu. Down back 3. This is pretty minus, but because it's got some mix-up situations, it's okay. Down forward 1. But did they make this better? Dang, okay. It's not bad. The reason it's important that you learn your slightly minus pokes is because you're not always going to be able to do what you want These bigger moves, they're a little bit too slow. They may give you the right of way. You're not going to be able to play that situation the same time every time. And if the situation is only slightly minus, that means that they still have to get through you. So even though this is -1 on hit, I'm not at an advantage. I can force them to play me still because it's only -1. Figure out what moves are slightly minus and then prepare yourself to defend or attack. Like, make your choice. Because even though this is -4, they still have to get past this jab. If they do anything that's 15 frames or slower, they're going to get beat up still, even though I'm the one at a disadvantage. It's really only when you start getting into -9 territory where it's like you probably should block more than you do anything else. But if it's -4 or anything below that, it's game time. You get to determine what's going on. So for Yoshimitsu, it'd be something like this. You could do it, boop, 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 boom. You could still make something happen very legitimately with this strategy. Possibly something like that instead. Look at that. Like, I'm minus there, and I did his fastest possible attack, and I still beat it. It's important to learn your slightly minus situations. I'm minus, by the way. I am not plus. And I'm beating these because I learned. You're in good shape to be able to actually affect the match and take it into different directions, whereas if you're just, like, going -9 all the time, like, I can't. And even then, that's not even true. -7. Boom. Doesn't matter. What's -9? That's not gonna work. There we go. Yeah, like, do not let this -9 determine everything. Do not let it determine everything. Because if you do, it's a fast way to lose. Don't let the numbers tell you, like, what to do. You determine the outcome of the match, and that's by, like, actually learning your tools and how they work. I know how Yoshimitsu's tools work, so even though this is -9, boom, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that it's -9. I can still make something happen. But overall, as a rule of thumb, as the number of creatures higher and higher... What the heck? Oh, I did it way late. That's probably why. It's going as fast as possible. How much does this change? Ooh, I've changed a lot. Uh-oh. No, it didn't. Okay, it did change that at least. But, yeah. This is a more accurate demonstration. That was more accurate. I was a little slow on my recording, but that would happen in a real match. Someone is not going to be perfect. So even though I didn't do it right on the first try, that's something that's going to happen in a real match. A real player, especially when they're nervous, they're not going to press their buttons exactly when they mean to. So it's still worth it. But that's why it's important to learn your slightly minus situations. The situation is only slightly minus, so you can cause those to happen more often because it's only slightly minus. If you learn these, you're going to be good to go. Yeah. Next part is learning your plus on hit lows. This is so that you can build momentum in a match and start putting pressure on the opponent. Because when you are able to deplete their health bar in a serious context, that's the only way where you can actually draw out mistakes from the opponent. They're not going to make mistakes if they're, like, calm and collected. They're simply not going to fuck up if you don't do something about it, and that's why learning about your plus on hit lows is important, because this is where you either punish them for standing idly, or that's when you start drawing out the mistakes. And that if it's plus on hit, that means you can do frame traps. Yes, yeah. Learn your slightly plus on hit lows, so that you can learn how to really mess up the opponent. That would be an exact demonstration of here of learning your slightly minus on hit pokes, because even though I'm plus here, I can't be too greedy, or else that while standing 4 is going to come out at 11 frames. Like, this is an exact demonstration of the inverse of the previous section of the slightly minus on hit pokes, because it doesn't matter. It's like you have to stay on frame anyway. So even if this is +4, I have to be in the +4 bracket for it to manifest into anything meaningful. So yeah, while standing 1-2 for Yoshi would beat it because I'm +4. But if I'm doing too much, I'm trying to do like a full crash down forward 4 again after this, I'm still gonna get hit. Yeah, that's not gonna work either. So is this? That might not work. Yep, nope. Still not gonna work. Yeah, that's how you have to do it. Because that step right would be strong in the full crouch down forward 4 situation. Yoshi doesn't have too many good like lows like that. He's not the character that actually has to play the game. So this is not plus, but this would be airing towards the category of plus on hit low because it's 0. You know, we both make a move simultaneously, so you could set up the jab, down 4, flash, jab back 3-3, spin out. What else? Because that's it, but that's a knockdown. You're not gonna leave him standing. Yeah, this really would be like the only one. So learn your plus on hit low so that you can keep and maintain momentum. All right, your plus on block attacks. These are extremely important in the same vein as the plus on hit lows, because you can't force someone that's not going to panic unless things start going sideways. And the way you make things start going sideways is if you start stacking advantage over and over and over again. So the concept is you use your pokes and your lows and your plus on block attacks to start really getting the advantage in the ball rolling your way. Because the more spots your opponent will have to play from disadvantage, the likelier it is that you're going to win, based purely on mathematics and no other factors. If we could somehow take the humanistic element and like the Reese element out of it, you're going to win on a mathematics equation. That's why you want to learn these slightly minus situations and be able to play these slightly minus situations, be able to play the slightly plus situations with like the pokes, be able to play the big plus situations with like the running threes, and the plus on hit situations with lows. So for Yoshimitsu, I'd be running 3, plus 2. Can I go backwards if I do this? Ooh, I can make them potentially make a mistake like this, so go backwards. No, it's not a launcher in heat. Oh yeah, but that's still really powerful. But that's, for me, understanding, this situation would come from me understanding my plus on hit situations and my plus on block situations. Because this is a very reasonable thing to do. Push them backwards and go in. They don't know that they're at a in a disadvantageous position, and then I do something about it. Plus 4, you know. Is that because of heat, or is it because it's plus 4? Nah, it's because it's in heat. So minus 2. So this is plus. This one's plus in heat specifically. This one's plus. This one's also plus. This is plus. You really need to learn how to use this because every character can do this. This is not a character specific thing. And this can be easy for your opponent to evade if they have good movement. You can still clearly land this on someone's block if you practice, but just, you know, be careful. It's a bigger move. You can get jabbed, you can get stepped. Whereas like this, extremely fast, slightly minus. Yeah, it's not glamorous, but again, you don't want flash over substance. Substantive. It's important that your play is substantive because your opponent won't be able to run over you easily. It doesn't matter if they win, but you'll be able to take every match and put their decision making and their practice under serious scrutiny if all your play is substantive. Counter hit situations. It's extremely important that you understand where your counter hit situations are in your move selection, because that's when it's going to determine like big swings in momentum for the match. Because if you can accurately lay down where your counter hit traps are, then you're going to be in a really good spot, because that's how you transition these smaller aspects where it's like, you know, how much damage am I doing? I'm doing 14 damage. That's how you transition 14 damage into what, like 80 plus, 90 plus damage. You're playing compact so that you can earn these openings correctly. You don't do it so that you're just kind of like willy-nilly, do whatever you want, do it without having to worry about it. It's like you're setting up they're earned. Because if you do that, then on like a technical aspect, your willy-nilly play will be even stronger because you don't do it. The opponent won't know when you're gonna start freestyling on them because you actually earned the positions the correct way. So learn your counter hit situations. If you can learn those, that's really good for you. See, because this is +5, even though this is 15 frames, it'll trade with a jab. So that's because I actually learned my counter hit situations. Learn those. This is +1, but because it's +1, my jab's gonna beat his. It's because I'm slow. Yoshi is a character that has a 1-1, and because of that, you actually need to time your 1 presses very well, or else you're not going to get your what you wanted, because it would come out as a 1-1 match instead of a 1-1, like that. I can go at 14 with Yoshimitsu and get a huge launch. It's risky, but that's because I knew the counter hit situation. I can go even faster than this, so they like literally can't really beat this unless they're doing a, let's say they do a throw, not a throw, let's say they do that. That might beat this, but that's like the only thing. But if you learn your counter hit situations, I can still fuck them up. It doesn't matter. This is a strong counter hit situation with a throw because I can track the step. And I can put pressure on the armor move, and that's because I learned my counter hit situation. I know I'm plus here, and I learned that this is a tracking move. Say sidewalk left. You're not. How I personally use throws is I don't use them for damage. I use them to accomplish something. See, like I can stop him from stepping, and I can put pressure on the homing move at the same time. Not homing move, on the armor move at the same time. I can accomplish both objectives with just one attack. So that's how I would use it, is that I would set up counter situations and then go for a throw. I do that all the time, and it still works. I'm not counting on it being a throw, but then again, I can't count on a low doing damage, because what if they block it? A good opponent will look at my tendencies with a low, and then they'll block if I keep repeating the same situation over and over and over again. So that's why it's important to have variance and actually understand your counter hit situations, understand your attacks. Okay, last part for learning your frames. The last thing you want to learn is your punishable attacks. So things that make you overextend, where you have no other choice but to eat the punish if they get it blocked. The reason that you want to learn these, and you want to like really look at each move individually, is because it allows you to more easily understand the risk-reward of each scenario that you choose to present to the opponent. And you can either choose to play somewhat risky or choose to play like zero risk at all. You simply will not ever do a move that is punishable. But the reality is that like that's really never going to happen, and even Arslan Ash uses a bunch of moves that are punishable constantly, and he's the one winning all the tournaments, and he's still like taking risk pretty consistently with his option selection, because eventually you're just going to have to make a real choice, and you're going to have to make a tough choice. And so it is beneficial to you to know like what the risk-reward outcome is going to look like. So I've got 3 moves for Yoshimitsu. The forward 4, his armor move, up forward 3, and down forward 4, 1. And then we want to check what the situation is on these moves when they hit and when they get blocked. So this is like a small move, little value, and it's true. So both of these hits will hit if the first one connects, because I sent him to, I like put him to block all. But if he blocks it, it's -12. So that means that he can get a, what is it, 2-2? Yeah, he can get like a 2-2 punish. So I'm gonna make Yoshimitsu do a 2-2 punish on every single one of these moves. Can I do a 2-2? I'd have to record a 2-2. So for every single one of these moves, Yoshimitsu is overextended, and he's going to be punished if he too quickly is like willing to take a risk on the opponent. Every single one of these is too risky to like poke and prod at the opponent with. That's why you do something like this. You do like a small attack like that, and then you can make your move. You can block, you can make your defensive play or whatever. So you would use this move, down forward 4-1, because it's true and 13 frames. You would use this to punish the opponent. That's what you'd do. And then so let me set him to do that. There we go. So this move is risky. I'm going to eat a block punish. I'm going to eat 31 damage. But if this move hits... Well, let me do a real combo. $67. So I will do roughly half the damage if I punish it, and will deal roughly double the damage if I actually connect with it. So that is like a risk reward weight that you're thinking about constantly as the match is happening. I'm taking about half damage that I would do with a combo. So technically, this would only matter if it gets blocked twice. But if it doesn't get blocked at all, this is worth doing. Whereas this probably isn't worth doing because I would eat like roughly the exact same amount of damage that I would do for like hitting it. So this isn't a good idea to just do. This would be the proper punish. Yeah, literally 3 less damage. I'm doing 3 less damage. So this would be a move worth your time, because not only is it beating a low, it's also going to deal double the damage that you would take for like eating it as a punish. So like think about your moves in that way. Like look for your minus moves, look for your punishable moves, and just like, okay, is this worth using or not? This is not worth using in like a poke scenario, because I'm going to take just about as much damage trying to poke with it than I would trying to hit with it. Whereas this, it's risky, but it's worth taking the risk, because I'd have to get blocked twice and maximally punished with a 13 frame punish twice for it to like really like manifest into anything meaningful. And that even then, it is still less damage, and is less damage still than getting the wall. If I get the wall with this once, then this is worth like 3 or 4 punishes with down forward 1-4, like in the mirror match. Like you might as well do this 4 times. Like that's just thinking about the mathematics of it. And like you may do it less or more depending on like what kind of player you're going up against or whatever. But if they don't even punish you a single time, then like, yeah, it's party time. Like, oh, they're not even punishing me for doing this, then I don't have to like respect what they have to say, because they're not even manifesting the downside of this. So that's also something that you need to take into consideration about your move selection is, are the opponents manifesting the downside, yes or no? And like to what degree does that downside affect the match? And then make your decision from there. You're going to potentially absorb an attack and counterattack without having to like necessarily beat the timing that's presented to you. That's what you would use an armor move for. So it's about 20 damage. And then so this is what you would be in a situation in which you would use it. The opponent uses a plus frame attack, and you can't really get in between it with your fastest attack. This is Yoshi's fastest attack that's not like a character specialty move. That being the flash. I can't do anything. I can't jab in between here. So if I'm getting bombarded and I can't get in between the attacks, generically you would use something like an armor move to get in between it. I was slow there. So I used this armor move, and the risk reward in this situation is situation based, because this is what it looks like when I eat a punish. This is a poor punish. This is a 10 frame instead of a 13 frame. You could get something better than this. You could get something really good depending on how strong your character is with character specific tools for 13. But in the mirror matchup, I'm taking 24 damage. I'm dealing 4 points less damage if it connects versus if it gets blocked. So this is a bad trade. The upside is that I get to fight out in positions that I might not be able to fight out with the jab like you saw before, because I couldn't get the jab in between, but I could get the armor move in between. And then what's the other upside of this attack? The other upside of this attack is that I push them very far away, and there is a reset in the positioning of like you versus the opponent. So you would use this as like a last resort if you can't find any way to get through the opponent's like harassment and you want to push them away. So think about this. Think about this through like all of your moves, not just like this Yoshi forward 4 in this example. This isn't a Yoshi guide, remember? This is a guide for every single character. But Yoshi's forward 4, his armor move pushes them away. So if you were to use this move, what you're saying is that you want the enemy to go away, because the risk reward is not good for you. Like you would take as much damage, if not more, trying to execute this move than if like you didn't use this move. So if you are relying on this move, you want the match to go into this direction. Don't just use this forward 4 and then run up on them. Use this forward 4 and then think like, okay, now like what happened last time? Like think about this for all of your moves. You'd be surprised at just how fast you get good at this game if you are considering why, like what is the benefit of using this attack? what range are we at when it's over with? Like, what range could I be, dominating, or what range is the opponent dominating me? You would use this when the opponent is on the inside and you want them to be on the outside again. So, like, you wouldn't use this move otherwise because the risk reward is not good for you. I'm literally dealing less damage than I would take if it gets blocked. So think about that. This is not a useless move, but you have to, like, use it with purpose. You have to think, like, why would I even use that move? Would it be more beneficial for me to try and, like, sidestep maybe? Whatever the case may be.
This is more important than frames are, honestly, but it might not seem like that at first glance. Frames are easier to understand, and that's why I put them before this. I want you to pay attention to where your attacks leave you at when you do them.
So the first concept we're covering is how far your attacks move you forward, because when you decide to attack, anything that you do that will bring you forward is automatically like an offensive position, regardless of whether or not you actually want to play offense, because you as a player could want to hit them and then back off, but you can't do that if you're doing an attack that brings you forward. So, like, pay attention to what attacks bring you forward and only do those when you want to go forward. So let's say that as a player you want to go forward. So with Paul, that'd be down forward 4, back 4, forward 4, and that kind of stuff. 4, 2, 1. These are the concepts. These were not concepts. These are the moves that Paul would use to go forward. So learn those moves and specifically choose to do whatever moves your character has when you want to attack. You would only use this move if you're trying to continue your offensive, like, momentum. Don't choose these if you don't want to go forward. You have to choose something else if you don't want to go forward. And then, secondarily, what attacks does your character have that you don't move forward with? This is probably going to be pretty tough with Paul. Paul doesn't have too many of these. This would be an example. Like, if I were to want to poke low with Paul but not go forward, I would do this. I could stand my ground. I could put some pressure on him. Yeah, 12 damage, that's not bad. And then maybe potentially cause, like, a bad situation to happen for them. But with Paul's not a great character for this. I guess down forward 1's not so bad. Down forward 3's not so bad. Paul is all about going forward, so there's not going to be too many moves where I'm really not moving forward at all. This, I guess. Yeah, standing shredders. You could do standing shredders. That's not a great idea, though. It's not like an orbital. You could also do this. You could do like a 1+2 feint, and then 1+2 like timing. Not the greatest mix in the world, but you could do it. It does stand your ground. You could do it to be like feint, feint, feint. Go backwards. Feint, feint, feint. Stand your ground. Like strike on the timing that you think the opponent will engage. Not the greatest idea, but it is good for variance and like making your opponent think about something. You want to keep this space potentially to draw out a mistake from the opponent. And I go in and make them thinking I'm going, and then I do something that doesn't move me in as far, and then we can kind of potentially play a spacing game like that. This is also important. Just how far can I reach out from? With this down forward 4 from Paul, this is clearly an engaging move. Like, where the match is happening when we choose to do this attack because of how far it can reach from. How far does forward 4 reach from? Extremely far. How far do my moves reach? Like, if you're going to play a jab game, you got to know exactly the range that your jab can hit from, so that when the opponent is out of that range, you choose not to jab. You have to dash in, because that's how far my moves reach. Back 4 with Paul, that goes really far. Sidestep 3. Sidestep, you're kind of sidestepping on the inside, and then you're going forward. He goes forward with the 3. Stance. My stance increases the range of my attacks. If I do it immediately, it has less range. But if I draw it out, then I can go farther range. How far can this elbow hit from? Pretty far. Wow, yeah, real far. This would be a nuanced thing, like, if you're good at poking, you're going to do your down forward 1, you're going to do your down forward 1 over and over and over to check mid, see where they're going. But the down forward 1 would miss from this range, but the down 1 wouldn't. I know that because I play Paul, because I check my ranges. So it's like, from this range, once your opponent leaves this range, you got to start using down one. See how on hit I'm pushing them back. Pay attention to this stuff, because if you're not paying attention to like how far your moves like go out, even because this is going far out, whereas this isn't. So this isn't as like advancing of a move. Like once you hit your opponent from this range, like what's the range that you stop being able to hit them? Yeah, like that range. It took me about 2 down forward ones. Yeah, I knew that one was going to whiff, so I have to use down one there. Pay attention to how far your moves go, and pay attention to the situation of, like, how the opponent reacts when they hit or when they block it. Like, how far are they close to you? And then this affects your branch of decision-making. Because I'm right here, that means I can start going in with, like, more committal tools because I'm so close at +8. Whereas if I'm like at this, I can't as easily perform the situation. I push them out further, and I'm not as plus. I'm going in with this. I'm staying out with this one, and I can make different moves based on the spacing of what happens when it's hit or on block. And then lastly, this doesn't matter for most characters, but it will appear, so it's worth checking on your character. Certain attacks won't do their correct properties if you do not land them on clean hit. With Paul, you have to be real close to get this demo man to actually land, because it's a character that takes skill. So you have to be super close on the inside. Like, pay attention if your character has any attacks like this. Almost all of these are lows, whether or not they require a clean hit, but some characters do this. I want to say Fang has a clean hit property on one of his lows. I want to say Leroy either did or used to or something. So yeah, from the outside, he can block all this. I set him to guard all. He can block all this. He won't get hit by it. He won't get hit by it if I don't know my ranges. So you have to learn when you have to go all the way in with your character. And then you, as the attacker, you have to be nuanced and understand that if you have to dash all the way in, then the opponent has time to potentially think about you doing a demo man, which means that like you walk in, do a down one, run in, do a down one, run in, do a down one, do a down forward 4. So pay attention to your ranges, how far out you can be, well, whether attacks move you in or not, and then if an attack requires clean hit or not, because this is what happens when it's not a clean hit for demo man. So ranges. Okay, and then one last thing that's like related to the concept of range. Depending on how your character's tools function, they will stand at certain ranges more effectively. So because of so much of like Paul's moves move him forward, he's going to stay in this range longer. So you need to like be comfortable with using the attacks that are more potent up close, like shoulder, like down forward 2, down back 3, back 4 to cause a plus situation on hit, jab, down forward 1, down forward 1 string, down forward 1 like stand shenanigans. And then certain characters like who are more defensive, say like a Yoshimitsu or maybe an Asuka, June, they might stand more effectively at further ranges. Like their tool, depending on how far your character's tools reach, they want to stand at farther ranges. Like Fakum Nam is not defensive at all, really, but he wants to stand at farther ranges because he has the privilege of being able to like really hit him with something like this without having to like go all the way in like Paul does. Paul can hit from similar ranges, I guess, with this down forward 4, but Fakum Nam can do it with more tools. So like remember to stand at your most effective range after learning where that range is by practicing.
This next part is the difference between properly defending yourself and getting swallowed up by the vortex that is Tekken 8. If you do not learn and practice your movement properly, you're not going to be able to move when it matters.
This section is for movement. Practice all of these things with specificity and that you are actually implementing all of this data. The reason that people say Tekken is so hard is because it's so many things to focus on all at once at the same time while the match is happening. But the more succinctly and honestly you have an understanding of what your character can do and how they move around, the more mental energy that you get to spend playing the opponent. I think that's like the real like quintessential problem that people have with Tekken, either when they say it's like too hard to pick up or like it's fun, but they won't pick it up anything past it being like a casual kind of like button mashing experience, is because getting to play the opponent is difficult because of how much you have to understand first. You can play quote unquote real Tekken pretty early in your career, but you're not going to be able to do it effectively if you do not actually understand like what you're doing spatially and with your moves and stuff like that. This part is about movement though. I chose Shaheen for this section specifically. So first part is like learn your backdash coverage. So if you look at the tiles on the ground, you can kind of measure how far Shaheen goes with each individual backdash. So this is, okay, how much is this? This is like a tile and a half, I guess. About 0.7. For each individual backdash, Shaheen goes about 0.7. You can see at that distance from the opponent in the bottom left or the bottom right corner. Pay attention to that and look how much space your character covers whenever they backdash. So Shaheen takes about like a 0.6 to a 0.7 for each individual backdash. And how Tekken 8 works is that like each character, because you can cancel your backdash at any time, each character will have different variations depending on like how much movement they progress. Like, is it more important to do like a delayed Korean backdash to get the maximum amount of movement, or do you just like kind of like backdash immediately? It looks like for Shaheen, like at the end, you kind of want to cancel late for your Korean backdash to get more space. Yeah. Forward dash coverage. How far and how fast does your character go forward? I know that it's different for everybody, has a different sidestep and a different backdash, but this is something that I haven't really tested myself. It's kind of like hard to test. Like, get used to measuring the distance and how fast you close in on the opponent when you're dashing. Get used to dashing, because one of the reasons Tekken is so expressive is that you're allowed to freely block and change what you're doing, like while moving. Sidestep block, backdash block, backdash low block, and then that's how the Korean backdash, like, people came up with the concept of the Korean backdash, because you could go faster backwards by canceling the backdash into a low block and then repeating the steps over and over again. So get used to like changing, measuring how fast you go forward, how fast you go with the sidestep, and like blocking and changing, like sidestep jab. Get used to moving and like canceling that movement with another movement, whether that be a block, sidestep block, forward dash sidestep, forward dash jab, forward dash jab. Get used to how it is just to move with your character. This stuff is important if you actually want to get better. And if you're not practicing this stuff, then it's not going to show up in a game. And it's really important that you practice your movement even more than anything else, because like, the reason the pros, they never seem to deal with mix-ups is because they're constantly taking mix-ups away from the opponent by moving around. It's much harder to hit a moving target. Like, Tekken 8 is still mixed up, and you could argue that it may not be worth playing for a like competitive experience. I'm not gonna, say one way or the other on that, but the fact of the matter is that like the onus is on you defensively to make it hard for the opponent to apply their silly Tekken 8 mix-ups. So if you're not moving, you can't get too upset when the opponent like runs over you with like a silly Tekken 8 mix-up. Like, a lot of people say it's like, why would I move? Because everything tracks. Like, sure, that's fair, but just go play another fighting game, I guess, if that's the issue. But a lot of it stems from people don't even know how to move because they haven't practiced their movement in practice mode. They're not like running in sidestep, backdash, sidestep. So like they're getting clipped because they never even practiced moving. Of course, like you're a fledgling, I don't want to discourage people from stepping, and I know that it's hard and I know that it sucks, but like you just kind of have to get used to how it feels. But the more you practice and the more you actually are doing it in the training mode, the less it'll happen in a real match where you'll get frustrated with the outcome. If you actually practice your things, it's gonna happen. Yep. this is an important thing to study for your character. Can your character step pokes easily? I chose Shaheen for this specific purpose. His down forward one is it may be the best single hitting like down forward one simply for a poke situation, because it's damn near impossible to actually like just step this. You can step a lot of characters down forward ones, but it's just not really going to happen. You have to sidewalk his down forward one. That shit's crazy. To have to sidewalk a down forward one like this, you have to commit to a full sidewalk. And the moment you commit to a full sidewalk, see how it didn't say punish? You are now you're delaying that punish because you're spending frames moving around, which means that you have less time to actually hit them for making a mistake. So I have to collect like a jab. See, that wasn't even fast enough. That wasn't even fast enough. Like, this is just a down forward one we're trying to get here. With other characters, you could do something really powerful. So let me see if Lily's the GOAT, like they all say.
Ready for the next battle.
I think it's more to do with her sidestep also. Or more her sidewalk, rather. No, she's good. Yeah, see? Like, other characters will have better sidestep. You don't want to set this right, but I bet Lily can sidewalk it right. No, she can't still. Cool. But yeah, like, learn the potency of the sidestep on each character. Or, not each character, but the character that you're going to play. Like, learn that, like, is this a character that can step pokes easily, or are we gonna have to save pokes for like big situations, for like running moves and stuff? For Lily, she can step, whereas other characters would have to sidewalk this poke, and this is a poke. We're not talking about a big move. You sidewalk big moves, but you have to sidewalk Shaheen's down forward one because that's how good it is. So if you can learn this for your character, you're going to be in you won't get clipped, because you, as the person practicing, you'll know, like, oh, my character doesn't step pokes easily, so I shouldn't try to step pokes, or I should only try to step, like, big attacks that I know that the opponent might take on this timing, because you practice that and you know that your character's not good at stepping pokes. Or, in the inverse, like, oh, I'm playing Lily, I'll step even pokes, like, I'll step in the poking war, and then the opponent has to respect what I could bring to them. Yeah, too fast. See, like, I could only get a jab. That is an exact demonstration of what I was talking about with, because I have to sidewalk, I now don't have as much time, where it's like, this is the power of Lily. This is why Lily is good in the hands of a good player. And that's why I would always consider her to be a top-tier character, because this is the most important stuff at high level. Like, putting a pressure on your opponent's decision-making like this. You're very seriously putting some pressure on their decision-making if you can launch a down-forward one. This is just a poke. And she can make the exchange really not good for the opponent if you're good at the game and good at defense and good at moving. Last part for movement is get used to your running moves, like how it feels to do a running move, like how far out can you do it from. Oh, shoot. Okay, I can't do it, so that was about from like range 4 or 5. So about range 4, if I'm doing like instant, is range 5? Yeah, so like 4.5, something like that. Yeah, 4.5. 4.5 is about the maximum range for an instant running to hit. Learn your running moves, learn how it feels to like run up and do your running moves, and then, because that means that now as the attacker, if you're presenting this running move, then the opponent's gonna be like, oh, he might do a running move, and then you can just run up and sidestep. Or run up and wait. Run up, do nothing, run up low. Learn how it feels to do your running moves, and especially, this is debatably one of the most important sections of the video that's not dedicated specifically to offense. We can talk about this concept later, but it's really important that you learn how to do your sidestep moves and learn if your character has sidestep moves, because anytime you do this is a naturalistic feint. When you step, in characters that have a crouch position attack, like Shaheen does. So this is technically movement, since Shaheen is moving slightly forward when he does his crouch dash. This is also technically movement, so this is important to learn for if you're a Lee, Law, or Shaheen player. Learn your crouch dash, and I guess Raven. Learn that. Learn your crouch dash. But it's really important to do this because this is a natural feint. The moment I start sidestepping, this plus on block mid is on the table, and this low is on the table. Paul is also really good at doing setting up a sidestep feint. So learn how to move sideways, because one, you're defending yourself. You'll be able to, like, okay, so Shaheen can't defeat this down forward one in the mirror matchup, so he'll have to like commit to a sidewalk. But if you're used to moving laterally and you're used to actually doing your sidestep moves, that means you can get into the deeper part of the game faster because you're ready. You move to defend yourself and you move to attack. So get used to using your sidestep moves. It's really important. And then you sidestep, and then they're like, oh crap, you know, the mix is coming, and then you do running 2 instead and get the like big plus frames. Or you sidestep and then square them up on the wall. Sidestep, I wasn't even doing an attack. I'm just moving you forward, but I'm making you think about the attack as I'm sidestepping it. And I did these sidestep moves so many times. So now that he's over here, I don't have to do any sidestep moves. I'll just move you to the wall. Okay, so yeah, that's movement.
This part goes last after you learn these other core basics. The reason people get stuck in Tekken is that they do this part first and then get distracted and slow down their progress. This is last because it's what determines what playstyle you want to go with. If you have the fundamentals, you can play any playstyle and any character.
This next part will be going over character-specific tools. That means stances, evades, links, or difficult to execute attacks, and combos. It's important that this part is saved for last because this is basically what determines your main. You will only be able to do like seamless stance transitioning if you put a lot of practice into that character, and if you're going to do that, you might as well main them. So if you watch this channel long enough, or if you go into the like Tekken Bandai Namco live streams on YouTube and stuff, you'll probably see my comments in the chat where I say things like deep mix. Deep mix comes from understanding the stances and doing like big, like really character specific mix. It doesn't have to result in like this huge momentum swing or something, but it is something that can only come from the flexibility that you have from playing a character for so long and transitioning between so many stances. Steve has the left sway, right sway, back sway, duck in. He has the extended duck in, albatross, flicker, peekaboo, and lionheart. So learn your moves from your stances, and how I do it personally is I take it one at a time. This has the least amount of moves. It's just got the 1+2, the 1, and the 2. So that's how I think you should do it, especially if you're new. Go for the stances that have the smallest amount of moves. I also could have played Hwoarang for this. Maybe it would have been better to play Hwoarang, but I don't know Hwoarang's stances as well as I know Steve's stances. So I felt that this would be a better demonstration because this is my main. So I would have the best knowledge and understanding of how to like show you to like learn your stances. With Steve, the reason he's such a very cool and interesting and fun character to play is because you're just pressing a lot of buttons when you play the character. So I can do my 3-hit jab string and go hold forward and to go into peekaboo, or I can hold back and go into flicker, or I can duck. I can duck in. I can finish the full string. I can right weave and left weave. So understand what moves transition into stance. Understand like how to enter the stance like manually while in play, and look for all your transitions and what like play patterns that you would look to enter into these stances with. So for Steve, he's got a really good jab, so you can defensively enter a stance into flicker like this, 1-2-1, keep him off you, and then transition like that. Or you can offensively enter stance 1-2 and go into duck in or something. It's incredibly important that you have a strong ability to do these exactly when you mean to do them, and to like do them with purpose. I personally do not like this stance much. The only move that I like from it is down 1, so I kind of just whenever I want the down 1 pressure, that's when I'd use this stance. But if I don't want it, I kind of avoid it. This is for tempo. I use this specifically for tempo. I can keep up like a decent tempo, fast hits, and I can just kind of block if I don't want it to go any further. This is for mixing, so if I'm just doing any sort of hard mix, timing, something like that, I'll do that. I don't really like this stance either. I really like these, but I mostly use these at the wall instead of like how I would potentially use this one for the down one or this one for like the timing or whatever. I just use this for repositional tactics and hitting opponent to get them on the wall. So look for your stances and what are the like benefits of going into that stance. The benefits of going into this stance are that I am moving off the center line and moving backwards. So look how Steve sidesteps when he sidesteps. He's kind of moving towards the character. Like if you notice, when I went around him, I became closer to him. When I went around him, I became closer to him when I like stepped around him. So this stance's purpose is to go away, is to go to the side and away. I'm getting farther away from him. So I want to sidestep if I want to get closer, and I want to weave if I want to go away. Like understand what the purposes of your stance are. Are they just like a true mix-up stance like this? Does this have? Does it even have a mix-up? You wouldn't use this for mix-ups, or you wouldn't use this for a mid-low homing move. You know, hit the opponent mix-up. You use this for a counter hit mix-up, a timing mix-up. That's what you would use this for, or to take the, to like speed up the pace of the match. That's when you use this, and then you use this to evade. Another thing for stance, like how I was talking about, like when you sidestep, that's a naturalistic feint. Sidestepping is a stance, like wall rising is a stance. Another stance that you're going to be in constantly while a match is happening is grounded. It's going to be like this pretty constantly because you're not going to be able to defend against everything. The opponent's going to hit you, and then sometimes you're going to be on the ground. So like, how do you get out of this situation? You can just press up to stand up and then hold back. You can press back to do a back get up. You can roll on the ground. I believe you'll automatically roll to the right, and if you want to roll to the left, you have to press down. Or I think it's not left. It's you will automatically roll into the background, and if you want to roll into the foreground, you're gonna have to press down and whatever your tech button is. Because I think technically, now can you? No, you can't. So always tech with one, i.e., like left punch. You can tech down. You can tech and hold down like this. So I'm holding down. I didn't let go of down when I did the tech here. Can I? Yeah, so you can do that. If you do 3+4, you do this get up kick. You can hold forward. You can press 3 to do a low kick, 4 to do a mid kick. Most of the time, I either like stand up, like lay down to challenge them because they need to hit me with like a move to make me get up, or just do like a get up kick or something. You need to be prepared to defend yourself and recognize that you're in this position and like what your options are. And oh yeah, you can also crouch while you stand. So this is not a bad idea at all, actually, this one, because if they hit you grounded, if they don't hit you grounded, you could like cover a high if they're doing a high or a low on your get up or something. So this is like a pretty solid option, waking up with down back instead of back or up, because up you get up regularly and then you can hold back, or if you do back, you do like the back rise and then you do that. But you could also just down back and get up that way, and then you can crush a high and potentially cover a low if they're trying to be greedy and then hit you with like a low that hits grounded like this. Steve has one, down back 2. This will hit the ground and also hit you if you get up and don't block low. So this is a relevant option to you with the down back get up. Links. You'll be able to see these most clearly if you're paying attention to the frame data. So look at that. It says -14. That means that I can land a free attack on him. That's guaranteed. That's a true combo. So look for the moves in your move list that transition into things like this. So for Steve, that's up back 2. Then you transition into Lionheart automatically. You can do the 1. And look for peculiarities as well. You cancel Lionheart with Steve by holding back as soon as you do these Lionheart moves, because this transitions automatically. I'm not doing anything and he does this. But if I hold back, then he stops. So it's still +10, but it's not +14. Well, that does mean that I can do this, but it's very unglamorous, you know. I'm doing 3 damage. It's better than nothing. And I suppose if you were like a tournament player, you like practice this just to like truly get the maximum out of your character. So this is one example. Look for these on your character. A lot of characters have these. That you do this specifically to activate your heat and to track the step. This one transitions into this. I put it on shuffle because this is like you actually reacting to the situation, and then you confirm it whether or not you got it. I was too late on that one. I was too late on that one also. This would also be an example of a character-specific combo or link. This doesn't do that in mid-range, but it will do that at the wall because there's nowhere for him to go. So when I do the Gatling punches, it turns into a launcher instead of just like a normal, like 40 damage attack. So let's reset this position. Go midfield. Yeah, I can't follow up with anything here. It's just 42 damage. That's pretty solid, but 70 is a lot better. So I don't really use this move normally from mid-range. I just kind of like stick to my down forward one, yeah, just kind of mostly down forward one, and every once in a while I'll do this to launch. That would be a character-specific link, character-specific thing that you're practicing for, because I play the character and because I practice, I can see that I get more value in this position. So like understanding the position and understanding the moves allow you to extrapolate more value from them. Not quite. Not quite. You practice these situations. I always put it on random guard and shuffle the counter hits because then that actually allows you to react to the situation and then go from there. It's much better to react than to just kind of like play the same way every time, because you'll become predictable very quickly if you're not actually reacting to what's happening in the fight. So look for what you have that are like links or difficult to execute attacks. If you're playing a Mishima, learn your electrics, but only learn your electrics after you've already learned the other stuff. Don't get distracted. That's people do this stuff first, even though this is supposed to be last. You should learn this stuff last. Especially now in the way Tekken 8 plays, like, a lot of characters, their backdash, everyone's backdash is worse across the board. But, like, the evasive moves are still good. So, look for positions in which you can use an evade. So in this position, I can't really use my sways here, but I can definitely do this. So look for your evades, look for positions that you can use your character-specific tools. A lot of characters have a backswing blow. This is Steve's. It's not very great. This is much better because I get to choose as to whether or not I'm making that commitment on a backswing, and I still get like the backswing potential from it. So this is a really powerful move on Steve, especially the better you get at the game, the more powerful this becomes, because this is an extremely potent spacing tool if you have the time to set it up. And that's going to be character specific because I'm not talking about like a sidestep or a backdash. This is much better than a backdash depending on like if you can do this safely or understand the position. This is significantly better than a backdash, even though you can get hit out of this. Same thing for this. Like there will be things that you won't be able to sidestep, but you will be able to sway with Steve. So test those situations and look for those situations in which you can apply your character-specific tools, like down 4-1, sway left, combos. I just put this here specifically because it's important that you do not get distracted. Like, you really need to not be getting distracted as much as possible and actually learning the fundamentals. Most people don't have fundamentals because they're doing this stuff first, and then it's like, well, of course you, like, I don't know if I've said this before in the video already, but you do not practice optimization for a position that you've already won. You practice so that you can learn how to win positions. If you do not understand this concept, you cannot effectively practice. You need to internalize this concept first. Like, combos should always be last. It's, you know, it's more fun when you know how to do a combo, but, you know, my combos are very bad. At this point, almost all of the players that I play against, their combos are better than mine, and I still beat them. And some of them I beat them easily because they do not have the discipline to play a position and earn the right to land their combos. So, but one thing that is really important to learn with your combos is your like positioning to the wall. Your positioning to the wall will determine what route you go for, and like understanding that and understanding like how you can maximize depending on position, that is worthwhile practicing, because that is like you practicing your distance management and understanding like obstacles, I guess. Like, a fight's never just gonna go your way. You have to make the fight go your way, and so that's the kind of thing that that's really important about like practicing your combos, is like, where are we positionally in terms of like where we are on the stage, that kind of stuff. And also, when they're at the wall, the amount of wall hits that you do will change how like the combo reacts. So that's like something that you need to understand for like your combo potential, is that you don't want some combos will not work because of the rules of the system. So I believe it's like 3 wall hits before they do like the fast slump, and you can't really do your combos anymore. So if I do this 1 2, all right, hold on. Yeah, and then if I do this, I don't think Steve would be a very good character for that, because this is like considered like 1 hit, I think, on the wall, or that may have to do with like the height of the splat. But you know, this is I'm not a combo master, so I don't really know all these things. The only thing that I do know is that you can no longer do 3 tailspins like this. You can only do 2. So that's like the last tailspin for that combo. You can only do 2. But like, I'm not a combo master. But even me not being a combo master, you know, I can still beat good players who all they do is master their combos. But it's like, you have to earn the combo anyway. Like, if you can never combo me, I literally won't take 90 damage. Whereas you will take 80 damage from me because I know how to land them. So that's the thing that you need to understand. 90 damage that never occurs is significantly worse to 80 damage that occurs consistently. That's what. So like, learn positions to land combos, like sidestep, how I demonstrated earlier, like with Lily, like chinging jab down forward 1, sidestep that, and then launch. Like, with Lily, that's why I consider Lily to be a good character, because she's a character that can launch like standard pokes easily and consistently. And so if you are a good player, you can use Lily well to land these combos. But combos are character specific. Some characters get more damage than others. Certain characters, when they land their combos, they get better positionality, like at the wall. Steve is not a super potent character in the close range if you're defensive and you're wary and you're not like taking the same timings, but he is very potent right here because he has 3 like safe wall splatting options that do good damage, and he has the stomp, and he has the sways. So this, like, if you learn your combos with Steve, you can get into a really strong position like wall wise. And then certain characters, what's the situation when you end the combo? Can you do anything, you know, specific with your character after they end the combo? Like with the Oki, can they do something cool there? Like learn that stuff. With Steve, that's like a good one, is that you're up 1 at the very end of the combo, and then there's like a slight mix-up between like down 1+2 while they're grounded and Sonic Bang. And you can do like extended duck and 2 if you're standing on the ground. You can do immediate timing down back 2. Learn that stuff for your combos. That stuff's important.
I'm going to separate this next part, offensive strategy, into 2 groups. 1, match progression, and 2, offense. Not all offense progresses the match, but anything that progresses the match is offense.
Okay, so I know what you're thinking. It's like an hour into this guide, and you're like, okay, where's the guide part? The unfortunate reality is that I cannot teach you how to effectively play the game unless you can control your character. I can't even attempt to approach teaching playing concepts because you cannot play a character unless you can control them. So now, finally, I'm going to be able to demonstrate like how to play stuff. So here's how to play. Match progression. This means that someone, whether you like it or not, someone's health bar is going down when this happens. And so the first part is poking. So this is like small interactions, jabs, down forward ones, quick low pokes, throws. You're poking to take the match into like small territory, which means that the opponent can't, like, if you can practice this effectively and learn the frame situations, they cannot do big moves. 16 frames, that's when it starts to be a little too big for you to be able to consistently beat this, because if I'm just down forward one, they can't do this. They can't do a 16 frame move or higher. They can't even do a 15 frame move, because down forward one will still beat it, because at -1 it'll come out at 14, and a 15 frame move will be too slow. So you use poking to kind of like, how would you say it, like subvert. You use poking to subvert, and you use poking to like throw them off the trail. You use poking to force discipline out of the opponent. And if they have no discipline, or if their discipline is like wanting and they can't stay disciplined for very long, then you will beat them eventually, because you will be able to force easy mistakes without having to do too much. Once I start doing things like down 3-4 with Hwoarang, I'm starting to go into territory where I can be launched if I'm not careful and the opponent is like sharp and they're paying attention to my habits. I can get really punished if they're just like defensive, whereas if I just do this, they can't really do too much about that. If I just do this, and they can't do too much about that. But if I can scout like trepidation, nervousness, I can start making big mistakes off doing like a tiny low. That's just a tiny low, and I can start making big mistakes come out of the opponent. Though it's a little bit harder with Hwoarang, because almost all of his lows go forward a lot. Like this is basically the only one, and even then he takes a big step forwards and kind of goes on the inside. He takes a step forward when he does this. Earlier on in the video, this like Paul basically has the same move, this down back 3, but Hwoarang is far closer when he does it. He's just an offensive character, so it's a bit more difficult to use Hwoarang's like low poking to kind of like stay on the outside than some other characters, but that's okay. You're using your poking to like whittle down the health bar, like pay attention to what they're doing and like gather information, because as you poke, you can't be launched very easily. That's not something that the opponent can really do to you like constantly if you're like very purposeful. If you like jab, backdash, hold block, down forward one, side step block. They can't do much about this other than fight back, and a lot of these moves that are in the 10-13 frame bracket, they're not launchers, they are pokes. So it's like at best, or I suppose you could say at worst, they'll find your timing, and then like you run all the way, and then do a down forward one, and then they counter hit you with some keep out. That could happen, but that can't happen if you're here in this situation. If you are already on the inside, that can't happen. Like if you're defending yourself appropriately, sidestep block, jab, jab again, jab, down forward one, jab, down back 3. So that's one aspect of match progression, is using your poking, small moves to set up situations and to pay attention to how the opponent responds to you. And poking is really powerful because it's what I call like pivoting. You can pivot easily with poking. So pivoting is like a term of you understanding where the match is at currently. Like, are they like all in on the mix-ups? Are they all in on the neutral, and you guys are kind of like dancing around and everybody's scared to make a commitment? Or like, are we doing a bunch of big moves? Are we doing like a lot of throws? Like, where is the match at? Are we at the wall? You know what I mean? So poking is really powerful as a pivoting tool, because they're so fast, if you can find a time where they block your jab, you can now pivot the match into a different direction. Whether or not you want to keep it there with the poking, that's up to you, or whether or not you just like want to be like, hey, back off, and then you earn the right to retreat, or you earn the right to like reposition or whatever. That's like another reason that you would use the poking. You use it to set up big positions. You use it to confuse the opponent, because anytime it could happen, I could either stay on the fast jab, or I could start going in after making you block these jabs, making you block these down forward ones, start really going in, start setting up my throws. No, these are all like -6. Oh, -3. But yeah, this left generic throw from Hwoarang's not bad because it's -3. So you could, even if they break this, you can set up like a sidestep. You can set up a backdash. You could like start running in, jabbing. Maybe this. Yeah, I don't know if they. Let me see. Can I make him backdash? Yes. Wow, yeah. Silly game for silly guys. I'm crushing a high while I do this, so if they like jab back, then I can enter stance with some plus frames and some damage on them. You use poking to kind of like set up positions and scout what the opponent's doing. It's kind of like simultaneous, like it's like multifaceted things. Whereas mix-ups, they're not really multifaceted. It's like you have two avenues. Are you trying to confuse the opponent with your mix-ups, or are you trying to kill them with your mix-ups? Confusing them is more in offense, and then trying to kill them is match progression. Because the match can't progress if you're not dealing damage. That's why I like categorize it in that way. But confusing the opponent is like what is like the truest form of a mix-up at the highest level of the game, because you can only repeat a situation so many times before you as the attacker start getting lazy. Like, you're just gonna get lazy at some point if you're doing too many mix-ups over and over and over again. Like, it won't even be something as simple as like, oh man, the opponent is so cracked, they keep guessing. It's no, you keep being lazy, like, because you want damage too much. And so, like, you have to figure out, like, okay, what's the situation? Am I trying to, like, hit them? So am I trying to go mid or low? What's my best options to go mid or low? So for Hwoarang, that'd be down 3-4. Down back 4, hold forward. And down 3+4 for your lows. And then, like, what are the good mids for your situation? Running 3, down forward 1, down forward 4 because of the homing property. So if they're trying to step your again, how I said, like, mid-low is not a complete mix-up. You have to have a homing move. For Hwoarang, this is, like, one of the most important moves in the game for him. And then, as, like, a part of your mix-up, like, what if you're using moves to mix up, do they transition into stance? The reason these are important mix-up tools for Hwoarang is because his stance is really powerful. It's like a double-edged sword. It's very dangerous, but it's also very powerful for Hwoarang. And so, like, if you're mixing up, does your character like to mix up from standing, or do they mix up from stance? Hwoarang is one of those characters that mix up from stance, not standing. Like, Shaheen is mixing from standing often, whereas, like, other characters would be mixing from stance like Hwoarang does. You're doing this to, like, reduce the health bar. And if you're not doing it to reduce the health bar, like, are you trying to do some deep mix? And how do you achieve deep mix with Hwoarang? That'd be this armor move, and then you can cancel kind of like the armor move and do like repetitions with it, and that's how you're doing like a deep mix. And then, like, you know, I run up on them because good players, they'll pay attention to what you're doing and like look for a timing. And once they start doing that, that's when it's like game time, and you can start confusing them, because if they're looking for a timing over looking to block, you don't want to actually spam this. You don't want to spam hitting them, because if they're looking for something, don't give them anything and just take the space. Chip damage moves. So this is extremely potent. This is like a new thing that Tekken hasn't really implemented before. They were there with the Rage Drive. If you blocked the Rage Drive out the wall, chip damage would occur, 5 points. But this is more like nuanced, more traditional fighting game stuff. Now, like, a lot of A lot of attacks have chip damage now in a way that they did not before. You don't always have to deal damage to the opponent directly. You can just do chip damage. And this is a really powerful concept with Whirring because you push them back, you gain advantage, and you'll do damage to them without having to hit them. So if you can look for positions in which you can lower the opponent's health bar without actually having to do a low, that means that you're like throwing off their ability to know when you'll go low, and that's like a part of the mix. So having chip damage moves in your bag is as helpful for you, like is helpful for your mix-up. Like if you have tools in your bag that make it to where the opponent is not exactly sure how to defend themselves, that is nothing but a benefit to you. So look for opportunities in which you can like make them block your chip damage moves. Not everybody has a plus chip damage move, but with Whirring here, this is extremely powerful. So look for those, apply those in your mix-up and in your poking, because sometimes it can be as simple as like, boop, boop, we're in, and sometimes it can be like, boop, like back off, see what they did, boop, 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 and then if they're really shelled up, bam, we start really going in, and we start taking damage for them blocking. I don't even have to hit them. And then if they're playing defensive, like, you know, you just have to eat this. Advantaged positions. So this one kind of exists in between both offensive, like match progression and offense. It's difficult to know exactly where it sits. I guess I'd put it in match progression, I guess. Because it can... Oki can only exist from successful offense. It won't exist from offense that is not successful. So if I do this, the offense landed. How does our character play offensive and advantaged positions? Are they the kind of character that is more about like the mind games aspect and like confusing you, or is it more about like simple, I'm just gonna hit him? Whirring does kind of like fold into the like I'm just gonna hit him category more than like the confusion, but he can definitely play the confusion well. Not set. Okay, so how do we play this advantaged position? So there's like a couple ways, but first and foremost, you want to pay attention to your opponent's habits. Like, are they the type to kind of like not want to get up? I.e., that means that they're afraid of having to play the situation, or they're looking to like call out you being greedy. Because if you just go in, you know what I mean? Like this is, I just talked about this chip damage. You don't have to. I don't even have to take a risk as Whirring, and I can make them take damage for not even like hitting them with blow. But if I'm too greedy and just assume they'll stand, you know, this running 3 whiffs. So they're calling out a potential like your greediness from me. Or are they the type to like always want to get up and do like a get up kick? Are they that type, you know? Or are they the kind of person that will stand up? And you have to understand like what should I do in this position? How do I chase that down? And like what are my best moves to hit on the ground? So for Whirring, that'd be down back 4, back 3, easy one, and this one. I think this one is a particularly good one with Whirring if you're like an actual Whirring main, because you can do some deep mix and you can do that as well. This move hits on the ground, and I know that because I like actually practiced this character. So I could like do boop, deep mix, and then oh, you didn't get up, and then I can continue to harass them and like learn your advantageous positions and learn how to use your character effectively. I do not main Whirring, and this is a deep mix concept I'm talking about right here. I do not main this character, but it's because I understand the systems and I went through the effort of actually practicing. Yeah, but you see my practice is wanting here because I can't do it exactly how I want to. Like, that is a testament to me not practicing as much as I should, even though I am practicing. Like, because this is not my main, I'm not doing the stance transitions flawlessly. So, poking, mix-ups, chip damage moves, and advantageous positions, or advantaged positions. And then for Whirring, that would be his flamingo stance. Like, learn how to play the flamingo stance. It looks like, From my understanding, it's like highs keep it going, but the mids don't. That's interesting. So okay, yeah, no, he can't. So depending on whether or not it was shallow. So if block him from far. No, that's not really how it works. So is it like from the side or something? I can't really tell. Is it the side maybe? So if the Hwoarang is not squared up with you appropriately, the jab will whiff. Okay, interesting matchup knowledge stuff. If you backdash. If he's not squared up with you, it'll whiff. Wow, okay, fascinating. But yeah, that's like, this is the kind of stuff that you obtain by actually practicing, so it's worth your while. That was match progression. You're doing this specifically to start, like, the match is happening now. Like, someone's taking damage now. But you don't have to do that 100% of the match. You can choose to do that at any time, when that's relevant to you. I suggest you do this at, like, the start of a round to obtain the lead, and then make your decision on whether or not you want to keep it going or, like, retreat. And you do it when, like, time is winding down. I think you really need to start making a comeback by 20 seconds. You should not make it a comeback by 10 seconds because, like, you don't have the time or the luxury, and not every character is good at making a comeback. So if you start making comebacks at 20 seconds, you can do it regardless of whatever character you play. Okay, so one last thing for match progression. How do I hit the opponent? Like, I'm having trouble figuring out, like, when I'm supposed to do my lows, and how do I get through the mash? You get through the mash by staying consistent on, like, your regular hits. I was poor there. See, like, you keep hitting them, and if you can continue to just, like, put the pressure on them and figure out when they want to retreat and when they, like, stop hitting you, like, you can be in really good shape. Like, I'm forcing this mistake out of him. Force a mistake out of him. Force a mistake out of him. Then you take the space. Like, you just hit him over and over and over and over again with fast buttons. This opponent, like, this is a CPU set to do these very specific things. They won't be able to down forward one you every time unless they're really good. It's like when you start getting into, like, higher levels, they still won't even down forward one you every time because they have to react to the down forward one happening and then be ready to do something about it and know their frame situations and apply that frame situation, like, because they're, like, not nervous. Like, it's incredibly difficult to do that. But, so you make them shell up by, like, using your fast pokes and, like, actually knowing your frames, and once they do that, then you can start hitting them. So basically, the idea is that, again, it's earning. You have to earn it. So, like, do your fast moves over and over and over again until they finally start, like, stop mashing on you. See, block that. That's why the jab's so good. He's doing an armor move, still can't do it. Block that armor move, then go in. So that's the kind of, like, core idea, is that, like, how do I even literally figure out how to do, like, how to attack the opponent? You just kind of, like, get as close as you can, and either, like, do it with raw movement and then start making them block your jab, or do, like, a running move at them and then start doing it. And then figure out, like, okay, they're mashing, so, like, stop them from mashing with quick jabs and down forward ones. That's what you want to do. And then once they have finally, like, stopped mashing on you, you react to that situation. Yeah, and then you start going in once they've, like, shown that they're finally, like, gonna stop. That's how you actually hit the opponent. Additionally, you can also deal with a match simply by blocking it and punishing them for doing it, because it doesn't have to be something as simple as, like, oh, I need to control them. Sometimes, like, the opponent can't be controlled, so you just have to, like, let them make the mistake. Like, oh, like, this is the kind of mistake that you're willing to make by blocking a jab. You know what I mean? This is a jab, bro. Like, you're taking this huge risk just on a jab. Why? Like, you took 35 just for blocking a jab. Like, it took me the most basic concept in the game to draw an incredible mistake from you. Like, you know, nice work, little bro. Like, Not a good idea from you. And then also, like, you can get ahead of your opponent's decision making by like figuring out like what their tendency is. If they're gonna do a match like this, just beat it with a throw, or just beat it with like a low. You know what I mean? Like you don't have to. I would recommend that if they can't be controlled, you at the higher level, you just kind of like block and let them make the mistake and then do something about it. But this is also a valid strategy, because if you can just beat it, you know what I mean? Beat what you think they're gonna do. Just beat that, you know what I mean? And so let's say one more. This is a very like reasonable thing to happen in like a warring match. If they're doing like their low evasive or high evasive move, you just like, oh, you're gonna do that? Cool. You know what I mean? Like, just destroy them. If they're gonna do some silly shit when they're at a disadvantage, just do your launchers. If your character has a safe down forward 2, especially, like, put this into your poking, because this is accounted for in your poking sequence. Like, I have the advantage here, so if he's gonna try to do some silly stuff, I literally can just down forward 2 him. So keep that in mind in your poking situations and, like, setting up the opponent. The opponent will be incentivized real bad to start defending once they, once this down forward 2 comes out. Like, once this starts happening to them, yeah, they're gonna start backdashing, and then you can chase them down. Like, it's really that simple. Like, they will start backdashing once they start eating enough launchers off simple poking, like, you drawing simple mistakes from the poking situations. Alright, part 2 of this section, offense. So, why did I separate it into 2 categories like that? Like, couldn't it just all be offense? Well, no. For me, no. Because there is offense that you're doing to, like, confuse the opponent and, like, make them think about things, and, like, tactics. And then there's things where it's like, I am attempting to affect the game. And, like, you separating it into those makes it easier for you to actually be able to apply them, as far as I'm concerned. Because this is offense. So, like, this is offense. I'm making the situation worse for them, regardless of whether or not I'm actually dealing damage. Like, the first part I'm talking about here is feints. Like, if I can effectively feint, then I can effectively cause discomfort in the opponent. And the closer that I am when I do this, the likelier it is that they're going to make a mistake, regardless of how good they are. Like, that's what you're ultimately looking to do. Is like, by learning these tactics, by learning these things, by learning how to play like the right way, they're all human at the end of the day. Like, so it's really just about like looking for how they make a mistake. Like, this can do it for sure. This can definitely make someone make a mistake. But the more you can make a mistake without having to actually hit them, like, the better it is for you, because what's going to happen when you start hitting them? Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, I don't even want to hit them. I don't have to hit them, and I can constantly make people make mistakes. So what's going to happen when I start actually putting offense on the table, or match progression on the table, I suppose I should say, since I'm the one that, like, is going so hard in, like, separating these two? What's going to happen when I actually start hitting you? The mistakes are really going to start happening at that point. So learn how to effectively take space, and that's why in that section on movement, where I was like, learn your sidestep blocks, and learn how far and how fast you, like, go forward, and what your character, like, what length your character goes, like, measurement distance from the opponent, like, how far do you go backwards when you take the backdash. When you can, like, appropriately learn how to move, that also means that you can, like, guard effectively and feint effectively. Like, I teach these things with purpose. It wasn't just an hour of bullshit. Like, I'm trying to actually teach you how to play the game. So therefore, like, hopefully I've earned, you know, your like, time if you want to get better at this game. Like, I'm teaching you these things purposefully. So feints, you do feints to draw out reactions from the opponent and to mix up your timing, because like I said before, it's not just about, like, are we mixing up mid-low homing move, or are we mixing them up to confuse them? And feints are a crucial aspect about confusion, because, like, am I attacking or am I not? And if you can effectively impose your will and impose your, like, threat on them without having to commit, they will make a mistake. They just will. Taking space. So this is an incredibly powerful tool that I know not everybody is actually good at doing. Oh my gosh. Shitty backdash. Okay. This specific concept is why I separate it into offense and match progression. Because when you can do this, you are making things good for you without having to hit them. Taking the ability to take space effectively on your opponent is its own reward. I'm not hitting them, and if they're like a defensive player and they're retreating and running away from me, this is my offense, because like look where we are now. We're at the wall now. That is an incredibly potent offensive concept, because now they can't even run away from me, so I can just start doing my mix-ups on them. They don't have anywhere to go. They have to fight out, they have to reposition, or they have to guess, because I forced their hand. But I didn't even have to do anything. So pay attention to if your opponent is particularly defensive in the neutral, force them to put the keep out buttons on you, or force them to go in, because if they don't, look where we are now. Like, I paid attention to your habits and I didn't even have to do anything. Like, look for your ability to not have to do anything, because the less you have to do, the better, because now that like they don't know your timing, they don't know what you're going to do, they don't know your habits. If you can effectively pay attention to what their habits are without having to reveal yours, that's like art of war, you know? So if they're retreating, take that space. Always take the space if they're willing to give it, but defend yourself, you know? Dash block, dash block, dash block. And if they're like retreating a little bit, then like make them retreat. Start making them hit them with the lows and see what they'll do. Hit them with a jab, hit them with a down forward one. Oh, they're running away. Hold this chip damage. Positional tactics. So positional tactics broadly is like, again, it has to do with taking space, because if you take space, then eventually you'll end up at the wall. That's what you're doing for taking space. But positional tactics is, are we at the wall? And then what do we do when we're at the wall? Like, positional tactics, like, my tactic is now, I will try to wall splat you if you duck. I will try to hit you low to make you duck. That kind of thing. And if, because I set that, yeah. And because they're at the wall now, like, what are all my wall splat moves? What are my like big power lows? Can I make them duck with a power low? And this is not a bad idea to do. So let's say sidewalk left, standing block. This is like a reasonable position that will happen. Like, down forward one, they'll try to escape. A smart player would try to escape. So because we understand that this is like this position is threatening for the opponent, and that they would want to escape, the positional tactic then becomes hit them for trying to escape. That's why it's mid-low homing move. I understand that this position is threatening, and so therefore I will either do the simple concept of splat them, mix them, or track them. Like, pay attention to your positional tactics, and like, how far are we from the wall? Does that does that influence my decision making? Are they a really good player and recognize that they're going towards the wall, and so will like sidestep to like reorient the battlefield? And if they do that, that means that they are not attacking, and then they are actually not defending either. They are positioning. Positioning can be an attack can be a defense, but if they're positioning, it's like scout that, pay attention. Like, oh, you're not even fighting right now. You're just positioning because you made a tactical error. Like, don't let that slip. You're like, oh, I know you want to step because the wall's right behind you. So like chase them down and then like get your lows going, get your offense going. Pay attention to these positional tactics and use these positional tactics to your advantage. Like, now that we're here, I'm not a super offensive player insofar as like I don't like having to go low personally. Like, I did think that should be very obvious by now. But once we're here, positionally, it's a bad idea for me to not take advantage of the advantage that I have earned the right to apply. So this is where like you should be going low and paying attention to their responses. Positional tactics doesn't just stop at like, oh, the wall. It's like, no, positional tactics, what are the opponent's positional tactics? I know that they want to defeat this running move, so they may step if I run at them, and therefore, if I'm making them do something, that's a part of my offense, and then I'm like, boom. I want you to expand your brain past thinking position meaning space, because that position often does mean that I'm talking about something spatially, but that's not exactly what that means in like a playing context, because a position can be a variety of different things. And this position is extremely different from this position, despite us existing in literally the same space. We are in the same space, but this position is wildly different than how you would if you started the round at full health, because now every single decision that I make going forward while in this position is under extreme scrutiny that it isn't if I were in the exact same spot but had full health or half health or 25% health or 75% health, whatever the case may be. Like, this is an entirely different position. Like, I want you to expand your brain past thinking position meaning space, because this position is wildly different. Unfortunately, I can't get the health exactly how I would like it. I would prefer to be able to set it exactly to 35 HP specifically, but I'm not sure I can do that. Regardless, this is decently good enough, I suppose. In this position, many of my lows won't be able to kill the opponent. So, if I want to kill them, I'm going to have to hit them twice instead of once. But a throw might do the job in one go because it's 35 damage. He only has, if the life bar is 200% and he 200 HP and he has 10% life, that means he has 20 health. I'd have to hit him with two of these. I'd have to hit him with two of these. I'd have to hit him with one of these in like a down forward one, or like one of these in a jab or something. I'd have to hit him more than once to get the KO. In this position, certain moves have extra value. Like, I could throw him instead and just kill him in one go. Like, these are the things that you need to be thinking about, and how the position affects your decision making. I'm not counting on him not breaking the throw, because a good player would break the throw. Basically, what I'm saying in this position is you should have practiced, and if you didn't, then you will suffer the consequences of not practicing. That's basically the idea. If I do this, isn't this technically... This should technically be a KO for Hwoarang, because this is 40 HP. So yeah, you could do this with Hwoarang, do the generic 2-throw, and that'd be like a good way. This is what I would usually do, because I'm doing this for the tracking. As a player, that's like one thing that I like to do. I know this is going to track, so I'd rather just do this. But again, like, think through the position, and the position doesn't just mean space. When I say position, don't automatically think space. Like, position can be anything. It's literally just like, what are the things that are relevant? Low on time is another position, so certain moves have value to you, and decision making needs to happen whether or not either for you because you're the one at a life deficit, or for the opponent, and then the decision making is skewed because the position. In this position, I may have low health, but I have heat up. I haven't used heat yet because this is a specifically different position, and it would be if I had the same amount of health but no resource. Because I am in this position specifically, I can start looking for the comeback, and I can start looking for a situation in which I can land a heat engager. Boom. Back into the game. Like, think about your positions. This move advances and is a homing. This is an extremely powerful attack. So you can do this, and if it got blocked or if it got hit, you keep going. And if it got blocked, you stop and you see what they're going to do. Advancing attacks are important because if you're not putting out anything, then the opponent has no, like, it's up to their playstyle, you know what I mean? But like, you kind of want to reduce the playstyle out of it because that's where that's where you as a player adapt. You adapt to their playstyle, but if they're not presenting like a clear playstyle of like offense or defense, that means that they'll just kind of do the generically good things for their character, and you need to pay attention and you need to make them you need to force them. That's what offense is about. Like, defense is about responding to what's going on. Offense is about forcing the position. Like, that's what good offense is like, I'm actually requiring you to do something, and the better you can get at like forcing a requirement out of the opponent, the better. I would personally put this in offense over match progression, but advancing attacks. Like, what are your advancing attacks? Like, how do they take space? Are they like plus on block? Are they minus? Are they plus on hit? You know what I mean? Like, what's the situation with our advancing attacks? Like, how far do they advance? Like, be able to apply these advancing attacks and like advancing stances. So for Huang, he has a wave dash. So like, how do I apply this wave dash with Huang? What can I do? This one's a good one to do with Huang out of the wave dash because it's a heat engager. And it kind of has poor tracking, but the wave dash can make its tracking much better. So like, how do I use this advancing attack on my opponent? And when you can effectively put out these advancing attacks and like put pressure on the opponent while you advance, then that means again that you can effectively take space, because they're going to have to do something about these advancing attacks, especially if they're good, like this 1-3 from Huang. This is plus and mid and takes chip damage. You don't want to block this too many times because literally just blocking it is going to put you in a disadvantageous position. So by understanding your advancing attacks, you can then feint and take space better, because they will be forced to respond at some point. Either would that be with like a step, maybe a jab to float you out of the running 3, a down forward 2 to potentially counter hit you for running forward recklessly, and then at you as the defender, or you as the attacker in this case, you could be like, run up, nothing. Or you see that they're stepping you, they're trying to evade, or they're trying to use, and then you pay attention to positional tactics, like, I see you want to position, oop, and then I run up and then do a homing move, you know what I mean, to track the step. In my case, I really like to do throws because, again, like I talked about in the poking section, like the quickness of your move really determines a lot. And throws being 12 frames, that means that I can put pressure on the step at 12 frames. Sure, it's a high, but it's 12 frames. Like, 12 frames is really good, especially after they deliberately buffed frames on counter hit. Like, they buffed throws on counter hit, and so therefore has less frames to break. Like, these will land versus pros.
Defensive strategy is the idea of both keeping yourself safe and taking advantage of your opponent's mistakes. If you play technically sound defense, you can make your opponent lose without even having to do any match progression. But in the beginning, focus on the keeping yourself safe part. That's the actual purpose of defense.
Defensive strategy. Turn-taking defense. So I could have talked about this concept in offensive strategy, but I personally wanted to cover like both spectrums at the same time rather than breaking it up. But I wanted to approach it from the lens of defense first, so that you can conceptualize it and then reverse engineer it. Turn-taking is the idea that like you have the right of way in a gameplay context. It's a fight, so, anything could happen, but the fact of the matter is that they're not going to let you do that, but how they choose to move and what attacks they choose to implement against you influences the branch of decision-making that you can do against them. So, the idea is, the reason poking is really powerful is you're making the turn taking, quote unquote, ambiguous. You're not making it so easy for them to understand when they are supposed to start playing. But once you start using these bigger moves, now -8, I'm going to have trouble actually doing anything other than really defending myself. Like, I have to kind of, like, I don't have to, but I am under serious scrutiny, because if I make any choice that's not defending myself, I'm probably going to lose because of the mathematics of the equation. They now have earned the right, by blocking your big move that's -8, -9, they've earned the right to start hitting you back. It would be like down 4, down back 4. If you're good, put an electric to like maintain the momentum, run up, start jabbing you, throw you. So as the defender, or as the attacker whose turn just ended, by like in this scenario, so some of your common defensive options are just like backdash, hold block, don't even backdash, and like be prepared to like break a throw or block a low. A lot of the time, you're not going to have enough time to backdash and low block and like block the low simultaneously, depending on how minus you are. But that's not a bad idea, depending if like they do like a slower low or do like a delayed timing low. So if you notice, as the one who you just gave up your turn, you're -8 now. You have to be aware of like, okay, what's the opponent's habits? Are they the type to immediately recognize the situation and like hit me, or are they the type to like collect advantage with like control moves? So like do a big running move, and then now I'm in a disadvantageous position again, rather than just one disadvantageous position. If they're the one that's giving up their turn and it's like this, that's not disadvantageous for them. So like, are they the type to like not make you pay for it? Are they the type to make you pay for it with like, here's the damage, here's the throw, here's the like deep mix up, whatever. So make sure that like you are aware of your situations, and that anytime you're choosing to use a big move like this, as you're choosing to use a value move, you have to be ready to defend yourself. And I want to do a demonstration here, so what would be the best? So, one thing that I do want you to keep in mind is that it is not just this, I will lose if I defend myself, or if I take like a big risky defense at -8. Like, no, that's not really how it works. Sometimes that's gonna happen. Like, you do that, and then they try to mix you, and then you can still defend yourself even though you're -8 here. That will yeah, there we go, I timed it better that time. That, like, you have to remember to, like, call out what your opponent's trying to do. Are they the greedy type? Are they the, like, I'll just hit a low, or I'll do like a poke value low for plus damage, or are they just gonna like hit you a little bit, or are they not gonna hit you? Are they gonna try to jab you? So you have to be wary of like, when you choose to take a match in different directions, you're choosing to take the match into this like value move direction, big move. You know, Tekken 8 heat, you know, these big mids, like, this is something that happens often, so you have to be prepared to defend yourself when you end your turn, and that the opponent has the advantage, and that you have to respect this. You can't let it determine everything. Like, as you saw, like, you can literally sidestep at -8. You can break a pretty serious, like, risky defensive option and beat whatever they're going to do, because it's not guaranteed. It's all scrutiny. Like, you can place scrutiny under your opponent's decision making even at -8, so remember that. The other end of the spectrum, the turn-taking offense. So as someone who is defending against this, so when they start making their attacks against you, pay attention to what their habits are. Like, are they the type to like play it clean, or are they trying to like steal it back against you? So he's ended his turn now. Now I get to implement whatever I'm gonna do. Am I gonna reposition? Am I gonna try to hit them with like a jab or something? Am I gonna try to like start boxing him now that I'm in his space and give him a turn? Do a big mid back at him? Am I gonna do like a deep mix with like, oh, you're giving me this, I'll mix up my timing. That's my mix, is I am doing like a timing mix. Am I pushing you back to the wall now that I've obtained my turn? You can do whatever you want offensively. It's up to you. This is like a good drill. Hold on. It's like a good blocking drill. Hold on. I had never thought about this, but yeah, it's like not a bad idea at all. If you're like actually practicing your wave dash. That's not bad. Okay, anyway, that's besides the point. But you get what I'm saying, like, whenever the opponent gives up their turn, you have to make them pay for it, whether that's like you're making them pay for it like in positioning. You're making them pay for it by like controlling the situation with like a low or like match progression with a low. Test their breaks, put some mental stack on them with the throws, do a deep timing mix with like a big stance or a like wave dash pressure. Like here I could do a hell sweep at any time, I could do an electric at any time, I could do a 4-4-3 at any time, I could do a 4-4-4 at any time, I could do like a while standing forward, do like a sidestep, while standing forward, jab, 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 whatever. Take full advantage of when you recognize that the opponent has given up their turn. You have to make them pay for it, because otherwise, you know, they get to do these moves willy-nilly. And then one last thing, like how we said, you can do anything. Just because you're -9 or -8 doesn't mean you just get to let them determine everything, but you do have to recognize here, it's like oh, you want to do anything? You want to do something? Like, you know, stop being silly. So remember that. And that's them like as smart as possible, like as tight as possible. Hit the jab. This is like literally your best possible option if you're going to try to be silly and take the situation, and it still loses to this slow ass move that I'm doing here for full counter hit launch. We're now going to talk about repositioning. So repositioning has like a lot of different things that this could apply to, but basically it just means that you're trying to relocate from the current position into a better position for you. So what this means is that, like, in a real match context, if you're retreating, like you're just kind of like in a neutral situation, once you start getting closer to the wall, it is not a good idea for you to attempt to fight the opponent in this position. If you have the luxury of doing so, like i.e. they are not on your ass right this second, you should probably reposition. In this position, I am closer to the left wall than the right wall, and I am much closer to the back wall than the left wall. So you should probably go to the right wall and sidestep to Jin's right in this position, or sidestep to the left, because even though it's closer than I would like positionally, it is still farther away than the wall to Jin's back is, and we do not want our back to the wall. If you were to measure it, this position is the worst. Sidestepping left is the second worst, and then sidestepping to the right is the best. So positionally, for positional tactics, you should go this way. And that kind of thing should be influencing your decision-making constantly, and you shouldn't just be paying attention to your opponent. You have to pay attention to multiple things at the same time in a fighting game. You have to pay attention to your opponent and what they're doing. You have to pay attention to their spacing, where they are from you. You have to pay attention to the life bar, the timer, and the wall, like all at the same time. That's why Tekken is like a really crazy game. But this is like, these are the kinds of things that you need to be thinking about. If you're retreating, you're like, oh, I'm getting close to the wall again, reposition. Oh, I'm getting close to the wall again, reposition. Oh, he's backing up away from me, and then I push him towards the wall. Like, that's about like like your positioning. And then like how we talked about turn taking and turn taking offense and defense and stuff. This is the kind of stuff that you need to be thinking about. Like, now that we're in this position, oh, he just -8. I don't have to attack here. That's not something that I have to do. Like, sure, I could take my turn, you know, there's nothing stopping me from taking my turn, but, and yeah, pay attention to this positioning here, because he's pushing me to, like, back into, like, the left a little bit because of the wall. Like, it doesn't just push me forward. The game doesn't like that, I guess. It kind of, like, peels me off the wall just a tad. But you don't have to think about going low here. I don't have to do that. That's a choice that I can make, but a turn is just as valid as, like, oh, you gave me a turn? Heard. You gave me a turn? Oh. Now your back's to the wall. Like, I'm gonna hold this position down now that I've earned this position. Like, so repositioning. Like, think about that as you move. Like, Or is the position changing, and then do I need to change my position again? Where are they? Are they moving backwards? Like, can I scout a potential reposition from them? So it's like, oh, I know he's gonna slice up because the wall's getting close. Homing move, wave dash in, homing move, hold this. So think about your positioning and always try to reposition for the best position possible and limit the amount of bad positions that you are in, because I think about it this way. Oftentimes, I will win rounds without even fighting the opponent, like straight up. I am not paying attention to what you're doing. I am not really paying attention to like your move selection or your reads or whatever. It's like I'm purely implementing tactics. It's like, oh, your position is fucked, so I'm going to destroy you because I know what position you're in right now. And it's like I'm really not even paying attention for real. Like, I would probably be a better player if I tried harder to pay attention to like habits and stuff like that. But that's not really what I'm like doing. I'm reacting to behaviors, I guess. They're kind of the same, but it's really not. It's like I'm paying attention to what has happened in the battlefield already. What has already happened in the battlefield, and then I will try to do something about that to affect it. Because it's like one of the reasons Tekken is such a cool game is because it really is like representative of combat. So it's a really cool game in that way. It's like I punish you really hard for like your positional tactics and your errors, and then I of course am under extreme scrutiny when the opponent has like a dominating position. So how do I make sure that like I am in these positions as infrequently as possible? And you do that by like when you're retreating, recognizing that like, okay, just me being far away from the opponent is not enough. I cannot allow them strong positions, so therefore I'm getting closer to that wall. It's like, oh, I'm getting closer to this wall, and then I reposition again. It's like you're constantly fighting for your positions and repositioning. So pay attention to that. Fight out. The opponent, once you will, because it's a fight and they're paying attention to you and they will pick up on your habits and your behaviors, and you will fight good players eventually at some point. Once you're in these positions, you have to be aware that they're not just going to let you escape for free. You have to figure out how to do it. And sometimes it's going to be so hard that you won't be able to do what I'm doing here and like get out of the position. I've already gotten out and I didn't have to fight out, but sometimes you will have to fight out. And what that's going to have to look like is like it's going to have to be you, like get off me, and then like look how tough this is, bro. Like you have to fight out sometimes, and like use your fast buttons. I would personally suggest that you use your jabs, fast counter hits, and armor moves, and throws, because they're 12 frames and they track. And on counter hit, they're much harder to break. You can still break them, but so I would recommend fighting out with jabs, high crush lows, throws, and armor moves. So like, it's not so simple as how I talked about, where it's like you just reposition and make sure that you're not in a bad position. You will be in a bad position at some point. It's just going to happen because of the way like combos take you to the wall, and then you have to get up off the ground and you wake up into whatever stuff they got for you. So remember that like fighting out is really important, and you can't just like, oh, let me do my 20 frame. Like sometimes that'll work, I guess, if they're being polite about it, I suppose. If they're like, ooh, yes, I will give you the benefit of the doubt, old chap, and then maybe you can land a down back 4 or like a big move in that situation. But what you should be thinking about is like, you're not trying to hit them. That's not the point. The point is for you to like earn the reposition with an attack. You're not actually trying to hit them, because that's what a mix-up is. You trying to hit them. That's what a mix-up is. But you're not trying to mix them up, because you do not have the luxury of mixing them up. You have to earn the right to get out, and that often means like jab, high crush low. This will beat a jab. So it's like, again, you're using the jab, you're using the boxing, the down forward ones, down forward threes, pokes like that. And then like if you see them starting to get greedy and they're trying to like wall spot you, because this would be a wall spot, right? Yeah, so you look at that. That's a wall spot. So if they do that, you're like, oh, a free position. I don't even have to fight out here. I don't even have to fight out. I just get the position. But if they're like staying on it and they're using really smart moves, or they're doing wall splats that are plus like this is a really big move. But if they're doing wall splats that are plus, that's a plus move. That's a plus, that's a mid, and will start a combo for them. If they're doing stuff like that, you have to fight out because they're not letting you get out for free. They're not letting you get out with the easy, like, you know, -8 reposition. You have to be able to learn how to do this, and a jab is a good way to do that. I want to add one little addendum to the fight out section, and that is moves with protection. So this means that the move is going to like beat something. It is going to be like strong in a position against a specific attack, and like make like a counterattack. Because if it's strong versus a specific attack type, that means that you can use it to fight out, because every single attack is either going to be a high, a mid, or a low. And so if you have moves that are specifically designed to beat that attack type, so with the down 4 here, it's going to beat a high, and with the up 3, it's going to jump over a low really quick. If you are trying to fight out from like a bad position, it behooves you to like skew the mathematics. Like, this isn't good on hit, and it's like, what, 11 damage? This is a tiny amount of damage. You would need to hit this like damn near 20 times to like win a match with this, and it's not advantageous on hit, but it will beat a jab. So like if the opponent's pressuring you with a bunch of jabs over and over and over again, like even if they're doing like down forward 1, down forward 3 pressure, eventually they might take a jab, you know, and then this will beat the jab, and then you can get out of there. And so like think about like whether or not you're like what your moves are hitting, and like if you can use a move with protection, use a move with protection to try and fight out, because you may as well just beat a move eventually, you know what I mean? So use moves with protection, use moves that are going to beat something. And also that's like another way to think about like trying to win the round. If you're attempting, if all you need is like one more hit, you probably shouldn't do this. Like if the opponent has 11 HP left, the 11 HP is the only thing that matters. So as long as it does 11 HP, it does a job. There is zero difference between this move and this move other than the speed and the properties. So since this is going to beat a high faster than this will beat a high, and the opponent may be able to react to this, like you want to choose this because this is the only damage that matters. So like look for moves with protection. Like I don't really like using power crushes, but power crushes are not a bad idea for like if the opponent only has 1 HP, then that basically means that every single move they do to try and to like make a comeback against you now has to beat this. Like all I have to do is get one correct timing if you have like 5 HP or something. And then so like use your moves with protection and like think through like whether it's necessary. So like if you're back against the wall, I don't like power crushes, but this is not a bad idea because the protection, it's like protection against like the bad position, because if it's correct, then now I have them against the wall, like a protection against the wall almost. You could think about it in that way, where it's like I don't even have to fight for it, you know what I mean? I don't have to position. I could just have this position for me if it lands correctly, and then I can like hold the wall position after. I could beat the jab with this. I could go over a low with this, and that they can't punish me on block for doing this, or it's like they could punish me with a hop kick. It's like if I'm playing like versus like either a really good character, well, a really good player or a really good character that could wall splat me for going -13 with a hop kick. I don't want to do that. I'd rather just do this, and then maybe I beat the low, and then I get out of there, you know? So use your moves with protection both to fight out and to close out your opponent, because the more that it's doing for you, the better. All that matters is the HP. All that matters is either A, you hit them with the fight out and then you can now successfully fought out, or the closeout, you have now successfully closed it out by hitting them at all. So it doesn't really matter what move it is. The only thing that actually matters is that it works. And so the best way to make it work is to have it defeat something. So use your moves with protection. Evasive movement. This is not like positional tactics. Like that section was purely about like you making sure that you are not in poor positions and that you avoid those as much as possible. This is specifically about trying to make the opponent's life harder when they attempt to attack you. The more you move, the harder it's going to be for them to find ways to hit your block, because if your block's always shifting, it's much harder to hit a moving target. And so that's like foundationally that's going to look like jab, sidestep, like long range move, backdash. This creates a little bit of space, so like boom, it pushes him back, and I'll go backwards. So I may be able to draw a mistake here if I hit him or hit their block, and then create a spacing situation here. If you're good, you do like an electric or something. So like always make sure that you're moving constantly so that you're not an easy target to hit. And if you force your opponent to move with you, then you might be able to get ahead of them with a homing move or a counter hit move. Luckily, Jin has the force. This is a really powerful homing move. Make it very difficult for the opponent to hit you, and what that's going to look like is like run up, sidestep, or run up, sidewalk, like wave dash, sidewalk, down 4, sidestep, run up, block, run up, block, run up, block, backdash, backdash, backdash. Like you always have to protect yourself. So like sidestep, guard, sidestep, guard, sidestep, guard. Every single moment of the match, you could step. Nothing is stopping you from stepping and blocking, because Tekken is like such a. There is a legitimate like reason that Tekken 8 is the way it is, and it's because of this specific thing. It's literally because of this mechanic, sidestep block. That's why Tekken 8 is the way it is. So like, if you think the developers are like shitty for implementing all these things in Tekken 8 and making like a shitty game, that's totally fine. But you have to understand that it's from the developers of previous Tekkens that it is the way it is, because they are the ones that said that you could cancel a sidestep with the block and protect yourself basically from homing moves. This is one of the only moves that will actually hit like a pro level opponent. If they are good and actually attend tournaments and win tournaments, this is literally one of the only homing moves in the game that will actually hit them, because this is too slow. 16 frames is literally too slow. Like you basically can only do this once you're like reading like a sidewalk, or you have like, so you have obtained plus frames. What's like a move? Yeah, +4. This would be one of the only situations where it's like you're +4 and then you do homing move, and then it's like, well, now they only have like 2 frames. They only have like 12 frames to block this, and if they like are not thinking about it and they're not protecting themselves, they might get hit by this homing move. That's why. It's because sidestep block is so powerful, and so like. Listen to me, because it's so powerful, that means that you need to be implementing it, and you need to be doing it as much as you can, like down forward 1 sidestep block, down forward 1 sidestep block, 4 sidestep block, down forward 3 backdash. So always be protecting yourself, always move, and if your movement patterns are like constantly making it to where it's not easy for you, you're not standing for an extended period of time, or you're not taking the same movement for extended periods of time, then they won't be able to like stop you. If they see that you're only going backwards, like then they're like, oh, I'll just run at him, and then maybe like block and then make it hard for him that way. So like always switch up your movements and protect yourself. So sidestep block, backdash, 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 block, down forward 1 sidestep. That kind of stuff. The first section of the video that I messed up, I recorded the whole thing, then realized the mic wasn't on. Amazing. So I'll try to speed it up. The idea is there's 2 types of like counter hit timing that you're trying to do. You're trying to do like close range counter hit timing, and then you're trying to do far range counter hit timing, which is usually referred to as like keep out, but I'm separating it into 2 because the timing is what happens when you're already in range. Keep out is like, you don't necessarily have to be looking for a timing. You're just like, I want to control the space that's happening right here, right now. And it can be used as like a counter hit timing thing, where it's like, I know when you might actually try to attack rather than just jockey for the position. I'm thinking about here, and then I'll do it at this time. But so counter hit timing is from when they're already right here, and you're looking for positions in which you can like, you can hit them while they're going ahead of you. So for this, it's the down forward 1. Like, I know my timings here. And then this situation with the running 3 is how big are the moves that they're using against you, and that influences the timing. Are they the type to like do really big moves? So even though this is a plus situation for him, I'm doing a slow move. I'm doing it slow here. I'm doing it real slow. I can get ahead of that and hit him before he hits me. Even though I'm minus here, like because of the timing of the attacks, he's doing a slow move while I'm doing a fast move. So pay attention to that stuff. You don't always have to be like, oh, I know that I'm plus here and that I play that timing. No, sometimes it can be I'm minus here and I play the timing because he's opening up a gap in his offense. It's not small enough for him to control me. And so that's a part of timing. And then keep out is more like, You use your long-range moves. It doesn't have to be a launcher, but like with the Mishimas, that's why the electric is so powerful, is you can control the space. It's about controlling space, so it's like keep out pairs with like your repositioning as you're like, oh, I'm getting too close to the wall. You want to pair that with keep out, like you're doing two spatial awareness things at the same time, like where am I positioning on the wall, and then like how do I control the opponent as they try to get in on me, and use your long range moves. It's best that it's not the easiest thing to whiff punish or like sidestep. That's what you want out of a keep out move, because if they can sidestep it easily, then it's going to be like this. Like that's good versus Gen Forward 4. Is like run up sidestep, but you're not really going to be able to do that online. That's something that's like you would really only be able to do that offline consistently. But that's the thing that you got to worry about with your keep out moves, is like, okay, you want something that's fast, and you want something that's like long range, and you want something that's hard to whiff punish. So look for those, like look for that move on your character, whatever it is, and then try to control the space with it. But what's more important than anything really is just like, can it actually effectively tell the opponent to like stay out? That's really what you want, like range on it. And like another move that's good for keep out is jab. So even though it doesn't have a lot of range, it's good for you on hit with the +8 and those +1 on block, the same way the electric is, where it's like I control the space and I control the situation when it's blocked. Whereas like with this, I don't really control the situation. I give up the situation if I'm wrong. If they like either whiff punish me because I whiffed it, or they ran up and blocked it, now I have to suffer the consequences of me attempting to keep them out, rather than trying to like play honest and just like, you know, dash block or guard and then like jab them or something. But anyway.
You fight how you practice. If your practice is trash, you can't be surprised when you lose. Most people practice their combos in between sets, but that's not what you're supposed to do. New players practice combos because it's one of the only things visible to them. The problem is, though, is that you're doing it in reverse. You do not practice optimization for a position that you've already won. You practice so that you can win positions.
We are nearing the end of the video. This is one of the final sections, which would be active drills, things that you can practice and implement, specific things rather than like, hey, go do this. Like, you can see exactly what I do, and you can practice this, and you can like put this specific drill into part of your training, rather than like, oh, go practice your moves, but I don't know what those moves are going to be because I'm not you. I don't know what you're going to do. You're going to play whoever you're going to play, and I will, you know, I'll never see your training because you will have done it in silence and in secret, hopefully. But the idea behind this is, if you practice your drills, you do not have to spend any mental during the match to like implement these things, because you have already done it. Like you level up your hands, basically. Like you level up your hands and your eyes. That's what a drill is supposed to do, so that all of your mental energy can be spent on the match, and you don't have to spend any of your mental energy like, oh, I have to remember to do my mids. No, like you practice the drills because I don't have to remember to do my mids. I just do my mids when the situation arises. Or I do my launcher because I know that he did this last time. And you do drills to level up your eyesight, basically. So here's the first drill. The first drill is the like random block drill. So this is incredibly powerful because this levels up your like base level so much. Like this will skyrocket how fast you are able to actually get into the core part of the game, because you're training yourself to like recognize like the positions that happen in a battle. So the idea is that you take your quick poke mid for Brian. So he's got this 13 frame, but I don't really like doing this one because it's -6. This is the proper poke mid, so it's 1 frame slower, but it's -2, which means that I can sidestep easily, or I could like jab easily, because they have to stay in a 12 frame bracket to challenge this. So the idea is that you set opponent actions in 1 or 2, so action after a hit or block and opponent action. You set those to random block. You set it to random because now that you as the player during doing this drill have to react to like, did they block it or did they get hit by it? And then the basic principle is, did I hit them or not? And then if you hit them, you keep hitting them. And if you didn't hit them, you defend yourself with a sidestep block. That's it. That's the drill. The reason this is a really powerful drill is you can set this up during ranked, and you could just do this in between matches. And this is incredibly good use of your time. Because it doesn't take long to set up. You don't need to do any like recording function or anything. You just do this, and then you get your eyes used to seeing what happens in a battle. And I cannot tell you how fast this will improve your like fighting potency if you haven't done this before. Like, it's a crazy drill that I have never seen anyone talk about. I just like have implemented myself. So that's what I do, is I take my poke attacks and then I just figure out like, okay, I practice over and over and over and over and over and over. He doesn't want to get hit by this one. Yeah, and then that also trains you to like be really aware and in the moment, because there I took the sidestep, so that was really risky. But like once you do that, that means that like when they block your lows, you're not just gonna get counter hit for them blocking your low, and then they do something big and they don't punish. If they don't punish, you will block by doing this drill, because you will have developed the actual practice of like seeing whether or not your attacks land. And by doing this, your natural speed for high level increases so much that if players haven't done this, or they haven't spent like thousands of hours in a match developing their like speed, you will be so much faster than the opponent for recognizing the position. Because the problem in the beginning, if you're a very, very new player just starting, is that you are going to do this and the opponent's always going to be faster than you at first, because they're going to mash. But when they stop mashing and they start thinking, the way in which you will lap the opponent, because of your speed, your raw speed will be like true. You will like, if you play long enough and you attempt to like actually get good at the game, you will be thanking me, because it's like, holy crap, how much faster than the opponent you'll be, because you'll be like, oh, I hit you, like let's go time. And then they're going to be like, okay, I have to think about my move. And no, you're not thinking about your move. Like, you're already in there, because you are able to calculate and think your moves at a faster speed than they will be able to do. And then the second one I call like push and pull. So the idea is that like you record movements on the dummy, and you basically just do like, either I'm playing defensive and I'm kind of like letting them do their like pokes and try to find a way through the pokes, or I make them retreat. And then you basically, it's like, if they retreat, you go forward, and if they're making you block, you go back, and if they retreat, you go forward. Yep. He's going in now, so I'm playing defensive. He's playing defensive, so I'm going aggressive. And so this will help train your dash blocks, because you'll be able to do it and recognize it in a match. And also, one thing that's really important is that a lot of how like high level offense is constructed is that it's like a timing thing, or they're like leaving open space for you to make a mistake. But if you are good at actually chasing the defensive habits of the opponent, then you won't make as many mistakes with like trying to mash out or whatever. If like they do like a +5 mid or something and then back off, you'll be able to easily like chase down that space, and the opponent will be uncomfortable, because they're like, what the heck? Why is he chasing me so effectively? And it's because of this practice where it's like you're just like learning how to move and learning how to chase down the opponent. Now I have their back to the wall. It's like, okay, now I got to play defensive again. Do my pokes back at him. And then I run at him, and then I block, and then I run and hit him again. Like, oh, you know. So this is push-pull. This is also a good drill for speed. A lot of, both of these drills are really just for speed, like and awareness and like sight. You're training your eyes to get used to it, because when you do that, then like the level of natural speed and natural like ability to observe what's actually happening is really important. And the more you do this, like, the easier it is for you to absorb relevant information, because you'll have this in your hands already. You don't need to spend so much energy calculating this in the match. You can just do it in the match and spend all of your energy paying attention to what their habits are. And that's really important. And like their move selection, and like what ranges they like to use, and what ranges they are the strongest in as a player. So the last one is moveset practice. Again, this isn't one I can like really show you with specificity. Sure, I could, I suppose, but I'm just not going to. The reality is that those two drills that I just showed you are significantly more relevant to you as a player than like practicing the specific moves are, because once you start doing that, you're really starting to get into like pro level play, because you're like, I do not ever want any fake shit happening on me. But the more you start kind of like going into that like I don't want fake shit territory, the more it's like, well, that you're starting to like be a pro. Is like is that something you want to do? Maybe you do, maybe you don't. Whatever the case may be, when you practice like defending against specific moves, now you're like your practice is starting to be inefficient because it can't be applied to as many concepts. So if you're going to practice things, like it should be like practice your throw breaks, because those are things that like every character is gonna like go against you, and you have to be ready to break a throw against any character. Even Brian, he only has like the 1+2 throw. He doesn't have like a 1 or a 2, but like it's still worthy practicing your throw breaks, because you'll still be able to break Brian, you'll be able to break Jax, etc. But like a good move to like a good move type to practice if you're a new is like defending against the snake edges, and like learning to block the snake edges, because if you really are like insistent on your fundamentals, newer players, like the only answer they will have for you are these like snake edges and like grabs, because like they're understanding that like they can't really open you up easily, and they can't find like a way in. So this is really relevant because multiple characters have a snake edge. They have a reactable low. So if you can practice your like snake edge defense, then you're gonna be good. You're gonna be good to go. So that's like one of the things that I would recommend you practice if you're a new player, is just like practice against the snake edges, because it's going to be very relevant. Practice against the throws, because it's going to be very, very relevant. But the more you specify, that's like are you attempting to be a pro? I personally do not believe that it's as important as everybody says it is to practice the moveless practice. Really, what you should be practicing is this stuff, because this is relevant regardless of whatever match you play. And if you can get good at this and play with confidence, it kind of doesn't really matter, because the opponent can't actually kill you once you get good enough at like just like holding up a guard and like looking for timings, and maybe even using like armor moves, I guess, high evasive moves like this, low evasive moves, etc., and like stopping the opponent with jabs and mid checks. Like you don't need to like practice your like against the character's entire move list, because that's one move that they might use out of 40 characters. Like, is that even worth your time? That's why I say it's like that would really be like a pro player thing, which is really interesting to me personally, to like see everybody do that, because that's the last thing I would do if I were teaching a new player. Is that the last thing I would do is teach them move list practice. Like, develop your ability to play every single match. Do not develop your ability to play one match out of 40. Does that make sense? I don't really understand that like strategy purely from a tactics perspective. You should be developing the skills that you can take into every single matchup, where it's like the Bears might be one of 40 potential matchups, whereas like if you can get a good jab going, if you know how to implement your hatchet kick, then back off, or then hatchet kick, then hatchet kick, then down forward 2-1, and you know, did they duck, and then do your soccer kick. Like, if you can develop your actual things that you're supposed to be doing in the match, like sidle forward 3 to like close the distance, and then like track the step, and then play the jab after, you know, don't just like get greedy and then do forward 3. It's like, no, forward 3, jab, 1-2, 1-2, hatchet kick, 1-2, down 4, back up. If you can develop your actual playing skills, it kind of like doesn't really matter if you don't know matchups. I don't know most matchups. I know a very few amount of matchups, and I can win based purely on my ability to play the game. And often I can tell that players are literally trying to like just do matchup knowledge stuff to me, and you know, it works if they're near my playing skill. But if they're not near my playing skill, they're literally, this is like the most effective they could be against me, and it's still not enough, even though I haven't practiced against like the strings. So it's like that, it's really not as important as all the like Tekken content creators say. You should be practicing your like drills. You should be practicing your movement drills, because you can take this against any player. This is something that you can do against any player. It's like, oh, I back up. Oh, he's retreating. Like, oh, he's going in on me. Back up. He's retreating again. This is much more relevant than practicing the move list practices. So if you're going to do that, just practice against the snake edges, especially if you're new. I suppose there is one last thing you could practice additionally that would be good, like generically kind of across the board, and that is like just practicing against defending against your like generic lows, like getting your like generic punish, like a wall standing four is going to work on basically every low in the game, and then actually getting a punish. Yeah, 1-4, there we go. Getting a punish on like a hop kick, because a hop kick is a broadly applicable concept that almost like not every character has one, but a lot of characters have hop kicks, and they're easily punishable with like a 13 frame or less. For Brian, in this instance, you do down 2-1 or 4-1. I'd probably just do 4-1 on like a hop kick punish or something. Yeah, and I would do it like this, like actually set up a situation in which you have to appropriately react. Because then, like, this is actually, like, you teaching your eyes to do it appropriately, and react correctly to the information. I set up, like, 4 situations here. So, yeah, something like that. Like, again, it's, like, broadly applicable. Multiple characters have a hop kick. Like, Jin, Yoshi, Claudio, King, Reina, like a bunch of characters have hop kicks, so that's something that you can easily do. So it's like a low crush, fast launcher. So like that's the kind of stuff that you would practice, is that things that a lot of characters have, like I said before, like with the snake edge, and then every character has a throw. And so like practice against those things, because those things are relevant to you. Whereas like niche matchup stuff isn't super important. And then if you do want something that is like niche matchup specific stuff, it should be stuff like this. Like what's the punish on like the heat situation that a character has. And so for this would be like more tactical. Like Brian, if he's trying to make a comeback and he's like wants to activate like a heat engager, he has a string. He has 1-2-1, 1-2-3. But if he needs to make a comeback, or he has access to heat and he wants to stay on frame or like maintain the advantage, it skews the like risk reward equation. And so that is when you would actually like practice against a string, is like, okay, what's this heat situation? Like practice that. Don't just practice like niche matchup stuff that's not going to occur. Practice the things that are going to occur. Like, is this heat move minus on block? Like, is it something that I can punish? Those are the things that you need to consider when you're considering like practicing like the moveset practice. It's like, this is going to show up in a match, you know what I mean? So like pay attention to that.
Being able to adapt is the thing that's probably going to take the longest to get used to, especially if you haven't played many fighting games, but it's easier than people make it out to be, and if you practiced the drills I listed just before this section, you're going to be in a much better position to implement these concepts. Learning how to adapt comes down to 3 core pillars: repeat situations, repeat ranges, and repeat tendencies. Repeat situations is move selection. What kind of moves do they keep doing, and how often is that situation recurring? Can you answer these repeat situations with a crush move or by punishing it on block? Do you have to duck a high to punish? These sorts of things. Repeat ranges is when and where the opponent likes to engage from. Is it a jousting style where they stay out and do long-range attacks with heat engagers, or is it a boxing style where they get in close and try to beat you that way? The quicker you can identify strengths of players and characters, the better you can try to deliberately take away their strengths by not allowing their preferred ranges to repeat during the fight. Repeat tendencies is more indicative of who they are in totality as a player. Are they defensive, aggressive? Do they panic easily, or do they stay calm for long periods of time? Do they stay out or close the distance? For repeat tendencies, I want you to pay attention to how they wake up off the ground, because their grounded state in Tekken is the most compromising in the game. Their tendencies will show up there because there is no room for error, and who they are as a player will show through without question. If they stand and block, they're defensive. If they do get-up kicks, they want to control the match. If they lay down, they are likely to want to challenge your timing.
Fight. Round 4. Fight.
Over here.
And this is more specific. We are specifically trying to do specific things in our adaptation that we specifically see, and we're trying to specify. And these go into two categories. I'll call them attacking weakness and avoiding strength. So for attacking weakness, what that means is that you are seeing deficiencies in their fundamentals, and you are deliberately exposing those deficiencies with what you choose to do and where you choose to take the match and how often you're taking it there. If you're seeing a deficiency, a serious deficiency, you stay on them and be like, hey, why didn't you practice these, huh? And then you win. You win the match easily when you do that. And don't do anything else if you actually want to get good at the game, because why would you make it harder on yourself? Because if they're the one that has the deficiency, like, you lose, sorry, it's a fighting game, it's a competition, so you're not supposed to necessarily be nice to them. They're not going to be nice to you either, so it kind of doesn't really matter. They're going to be doing their silly Tekken 8 mix-ups anyway, so it doesn't, attack the weakness if you see it, and if you actually have fundamentals, you will see just how flawed many players are. I have my weaknesses. I have many of them. It's a never-ending process trying to figure out how to become the best player you can be. But so the first part would be no throw breaks. I know King's on the screen, so you're just gonna have to pretend King's not on the screen. So because King, he has all the throw mix-ups, so it kind of doesn't really matter if you can break throws, because King will still make you fail. But imagine this isn't King that's on the screen right now, and you're just playing like a regular character, and the other player is playing a regular character, and King's not involved. If you see that either A, they are spamming a specific throw break, or B, they have no throw breaks, you need to figure out how to set up situations in which you can get the throws on them, and that usually means get into close range with some jabs or some advancing lows or something, and then start throwing, because there's two types of people who break throws. There's people who actually practice their throw breaks and can react, and there's the people who's mashing a specific throw type. So often this will mean they have the 1+2s on lock, so this is a 1+2, but they don't have the regular 2s or 1s on lock, and they'll just break those. And so whenever you're going up against someone, test their throws immediately by doing a 1+2 and then doing a generic throw, and it's oh, you were just breaking generics, you can't actually break throws, you were just mashing when you saw the hands come out. And so that's one way you can attack weakness. So make sure to immediately diversify your throw game against random so that you can tell whether or not they have a deficiency in throw breaks, and then you can attack that weakness. And then so this is more high level. This is if you're attacking this starts to mean with you're getting into serious playing category. So if you can KBD, you're going to be able to tell when someone can't KBD, because if they're doing this, that's a deficiency. that means I can close space on them really fast because they're not retreating as fast as they could be, and I can really get on you. So that means that I can start taking moves that I wouldn't be able to take versus a player with actual practiced movement. Like, I can get greedy with my placements because I know they can't escape me. Like, think about that. Like, oh, he didn't actually practice his movement for real, so I can like wave dash up on him easily because he's not using a KBD. This is called ladder stepping. It's a legitimate, like, useful tool, especially against characters like Raven, where Raven is weird. He has like a lot of tracking, but he also kind of like doesn't have tracking like on the outside. So once you like escape, once you're about this range, ladder stepping can actually be kind of effective versus certain characters. But if they're using it to make space rather than to defeat a tool, that is a deficiency that you can exploit by going forward extremely aggressively, and they will not be able to escape you. And they already aren't able to escape you in Tekken 8, but like that, to a certain degree, it might be even more important that you have a like excellent KBD, because you might be able to escape something if you have like a perfect KBD, whereas you definitely won't be able to escape something if you just have a ladder step and that's your only version of movement. Like, that's a weakness. You don't have a variety in your movement, so I can attack that, and it's like, oh, like, I'll just run up on you if you're not running away from me as fast as you can. That's a weakness. Okay, then this is poor diversification of offense. Which one is this? I think it's number 1. So this means that the opponent is doing the same things over and over and over again. That means like ranges, they're doing the same thing from the same ranges. So either they use the same moves at long range and then they use the same moves at close range. So what would be like a good example of this? Yeah, they're using this move over and over again. Like, if they're using the same moves over and over again, that's a weakness that you can exploit. You could be like, oh, I know what you're doing. I'll let you attack me because I'm not scared of what you actually have presented. It's like, this is all you got, then I'm going to destroy you. It's like, oh, that's an easy break. Like, light work. I can get under it with, like, a high crush move, you know? So, like, let them attack you and then expose that deficiency. If they're just like doing plus moves over and over again and then they're doing like lows instantly without doing like mid checks or jabs or anything to diversify, or like maybe they're not doing like running move and then block. If they're not diversifying their offense, that's also something you can exploit. But it's, when I say exploit weakness, that sounds necessarily like offensive, but that's not necessarily how it means. It means that you're specifically either like brute force, like they know you're attacking their weakness, or you're subtly attacking their weakness by allowing the weakness to be exploited and letting them make the mistake. I'm letting him on the inside when I know that if I know that he's going to do this running 3, I'm letting him on the inside so that I can destroy him. Like, this is the weakness that I'm attacking, but it may not look like it because I'm just holding back. I'm still attacking this weakness though. This one's going to be the one you're probably going to face the most if you're a very, very new player watching this guide. It's like, how often is the opponent like really trying to have the match go into their favor? Ooh, yeah, I could punish that back. How often is the match how often does the opponent want to control the match without having to earn it? Because earn it means that you make the opponent make a mistake and then you punish that mistake either on block, or you make them whiff and then punish that mistake with a whiff punish. So look for moments and look to see if your opponent is like actually outplaying you, i.e. they're paying attention to what you're doing and then doing counter moves, or if they're just kind of like doing moves and it just so happens that they beat the moves you did. So like, pay attention to that, and it's like, well, I could bait you out and make you panic if I see that you're spamming these moves over and over again. So pay attention if they're the type to want to take control of the match without earning it, and then do something about it. So with the jab, I can easily block after I make them block this jab. Bad punishes. So this isn't necessarily a good idea, but this is the kind of thing that you can exploit, that if you know that you're a superior player and have superior fundamentals, but Tekken 8 is making it like a more difficult proposition than it should be, this is something that you can exploit versus players like the value proposition. Like, if you know that they are like have a deficiency here, you can exploit this. Bad punishes, like they're a little too slow, or they're like not making that -15 count with like a launch punish. You can take extra risk on a player that you know is not as good as you, so that you can make them make a mistake and then get back into the game by like not only taking more than you earn with the value proposition of usually the moves that are like launchable on block, they're launchable on block because of the value proposition. So if you're noticing that someone has poor punishes, you can take advantage of that and be like, well, you were supposed to punish this, why didn't you? You know what I mean? And then you can get back into the game. Damn, it's like kind of hard to punish back, I guess. I don't know. I got bad punishes. Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily recommend that though, and this gets like really, you know, you're getting into a slippery slope kind of territory. So, but I wouldn't spam this one. But this is something that you could use on a player that you know is worse than you, but they're making it harder than it should be. This part is called avoiding strengths. So, especially the better you get at the game, the more complete these players will be. You won't be able to attack deficiency so easily. You will now have to deal with strength, and you will have to find ways to avoid strength, or take the match into a different direction so that those strengths cannot be amplified and those strengths can't be used as easily. So like an easy way to do this would be like, what are their strong positions, both as like as a character and like as a player? Okay, so like an easy one would be like they're at the wall and the character is really strong, so it doesn't matter who's playing them, or the player is very good at like diversifying and making it difficult to understand like when they will or won't attack. Like, so in this position, it's like, oh man, this guy's like really good at like chasing me down and making it hard for me to get out of here. He's like chasing me and really putting my back to the wall, and I don't know exactly where I'm supposed to go. Like, make sure to avoid this position if at all possible. You want to do this regardless, but if a player is good at that position, avoid that position at all costs and like try to fight out and earn your way to not be at the wall. Or is it like a player that's good just in close range? Well, like, we're not even at the wall. Maybe they're just good in close range. They make it their business to be good in the up close game. It's like, well, maybe I want to take it away from the close range, and maybe I want to play like a more neutral focused game versus this player because they're better than me at the close range. So I want to keep it here and make them have to get through the minefield of my keep out moves, my counter hit moves, to make them earn the right to get into close range. You have to think about these things and try your best to avoid the weakness. Or is it the opposite? Are they the type of player that's really good at the far range and you have difficulty figuring out what it is you're supposed to do? I'm supposed to do this. Like, they're really good. Like, dang, I can't figure out how to do it. You need to think about these things and deliberately take steps to take the match into different directions so that you can avoid their strengths. Like, are they the type of player that has really good timing? Or do they have really good diversification of offense? You know, that kind of thing. Are they the type of player that like knows how your character plays? Like, so you have to come up with like strategies on the fly to make it to where like you play your character with like more uncommon moves because they're too good at defeating the common moves that your character would use in the close range or the long range, and then you have to figure out how to like avoid their strength of like character matchup stuff, you know what I mean? So this thing is debatably even more important than attacking weaknesses, but this kind of thing is going to be more relevant to you the better you get to like avoid the weakness, or avoid the strength rather. Like with King, it's probably best to play a lot of the neutral game, play more of the neutral game, even if your character is good in the close range, because your character basically has to like have really good high crushing, like above average high crushing options if you want to play the neutral, or not neutral, if you want to play the close range game versus King, because he has those like monstrous throws. So you like, that's something that you need to think about, is like, this is the strength of just the character, regardless of whatever player I'm facing. The strength of the character is so much that I need to think about it. It's like, oh, I'll just play a neutral game even if my character is good at close range, or so maybe subpar, whatever at the neutral. I'd rather play the neutral so that I can avoid the strength, and then maybe I'd play the strength here when like King is like really under duress and he has to like think hard. He can't just do his moves or whatever, like jab, 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 jab. Giant swing is 10, but jab is +1. So if I just stay on this jab and like do a bunch of moves like this, he'll be forced to use something else. You know, the idea is basically like, the idea is you are making it to where they have to earn the right to run their like strengths on you. You have to like, they have to get through you to be strong, you know, and you want to make it as hard as possible and as earned as possible for them to run their positions on you. And the better you can get at this, the likelier it is that you're going to win, because again, it's like a mathematics thing. Like, your training should take the humanistic element out of it, because that's like what you're supposed to do if you're actually trying to get good. Like you're weighing it on like a mathematics equation. If they're playing most of the match either from like a neutral position or like a weakness position, that means that on a mathematics level you're doing like a really good job with your strategy, because the numbers aren't going to be working out for them very well. You know what I mean? It's like when they finally attain their strength, that's when they like be able to do it. And so you should be focusing as much of your game plan as possible around exploiting the weaknesses of them as a player, or avoiding the strengths of the character that you're facing or the player that you're facing. And of course, a lot of the time, like once a player grows wings, so to speak, and they start playing the character rather than the character playing them, that's when it starts to be like more difficult. But that also, like, those remnants will still remain, where it's like a character's strengths is almost always going to influence how you develop as a player, at least at first. And so some of those tendencies will still be there, so you can still like attack those strengths. Like, whereas like a king player maybe have like above average like twitch, how do I want to say it? A king player would likelier have above average committal decision making in the clutch when something weird happens, because they would be ready to do like a giant swing after they get hit by a jab or something, whereas like another character, a player of another character might not be able to like just fuck it, we ball, and make a decision quickly when things didn't go their way. You know what I mean? So think about that.
Any form of competition can easily become intense, even if it's just a game, so it's important that you prepare yourself mentally for when you have to play and deliver on that intensity. And it's even more important that you come into the game with strategies prepared. If you know what you're supposed to do, you are likelier to actually manifest that outcome, so long as you legitimately try to do so. Go into every session or set of matches with a goal. This doesn't even have to do with anybody you're playing or any character you're going against. Maybe this means you want to practice blocking lows, breaking throws, or doing more sidesteps in a real match. Prepare yourself to do what you said you were going to do, and do it, even if it doesn't work. Your opponent is another person trying hard to beat you. Always remember this, and remember that nervousness is just a part of the game. The opponent will become nervous so long as you present credible threat to their playing patterns. Don't take any losses personally, it's just a game. If you compete in tournaments and are signed to an organization, take losses extremely personally and endeavor to never lose in that position again. Loss is a part of the game, but continued loss in the same positions is unacceptable for someone who is supposed to be a professional. Whenever a set is over with, wipe the slate clean. All the reads and move selection you did needs to go away and reset to match up into the next player in front of you, and you need to figure out their tendencies, move selection, ranges, and whatnot all over again. A thing I like to do is close my eyes whenever I queue into a ranked match. This is definitely more of a Pavlovian thing, but a good trick might actually trick someone, the person you're tricking of course being yourself in this instance. If you load into a match thinking, "Oh man, king, I can't break throws," you're setting yourself up for failure because you're attributing things that have not yet happened. If you only open your eyes when round 1 starts, you'll be more able to absorb that king player's tendencies, their timings, when they choose to throw, that sort of thing. And lastly, never ever count yourself out and always keep fighting. If you believe in yourself, you might be surprised with the results. It doesn't matter if you're fighting a highly skilled opponent. If you trained well and fight hard, you can do the impossible.